And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm Brayathorn. Eventually. How the heck we doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. Haven't been a very good streamer lately. Sorry. My apologies to those of you who expected better. Also, my absolute confusion. Why would you expect any better? Anyways, happy to see you guys here. Happy to be here. Sunday, my Discord announcement that definitely, absolutely went up did not go up. I was not going to make stream that. I had thrown up my back a couple days before that, and it was just really doing badly, and I was on pain meds. So I guess I guess I maybe left it on the notification saying, "Hey, you're pinging everybody with this announcement. Are you sure you want to do that?" And I just never said okay. I was tired and in pain and on medication. So sorry about that, everybody. Not something that I typically do. I'm at least able to say that with some confidence. So, but we're here, and just a little late. I don't know what it is. Probably the fact that I leave my streaming PC running a lot. And honestly, guys, you should be rebooting your PC pretty regularly. Now, shutting it down. Cool, that's great, but it suspends a lot of processes when you do that. In a way, it's usually better to just do an actual restart on your PC. That's a cleaner slate, and that's Windows 11 for you. Welcome to Windows 11. So I need to do that before I start streaming. I was going to, but then Stream Deck stuff started working again. So I was like, let's just let it ride, and we'll let the scuff be scuff. But yeah, I got some catching up to do with chat here. A lot easier to start with Twitch. What's going on, Peter? How's it going? It is Braithorn time. It's also you guys' time. To me, that's what this is. I get to hang out with y'all. Horse Soda. Awesome. Thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And I hope you get to hang out a little bit. And I appreciate it. And Observer of Thoughts, how you doing? I didn't hit that S very well. Observer of Thoughts. How you doing? Welcome. Peter, welcome again. My HomePod arrived today. So exciting. Apple stuff. It's just never resonated with me truly. I don't know why. I don't know. Honestly. What are you gonna do? Bone Shock, what's up? Welcome. Rye Guy says, "Hey man, how are you?" Doing okay. Doing pretty good. I got plenty of rest. So a few years ago, I ruptured a disc between my L4 and L5, and it doesn't let me go that long without reminding me. And the funny thing is, I don't need to do anything too crazy. I just move a little bit in a way that it doesn't like, and it's like, hey, how about you have some excruciating pain for the next like 5 days? How would you like that? You know, just a reminder of why you're doing the whole gym thing, to strengthen your back muscles and all the rest, and also lose weight. But that's how it is. Arcad V, what's going on? Welcome. Can't relate to the back issues. Yeah, and it sucks because I'm having to finish up a PC that I'm selling to a friend. So yeah, and that's not fun. Sounds like my left knee. Yep, I actually have 15 degrees of hyperextension in both of my knees, and I have most of my life. It's never really been a problem until I gained weight, and then I lost all the weight and I gained it back. Actually, a lot of it was after I ruptured that disc. Uh-oh, what's going on? There it is. Igor 1980. Just subscribe to Tier 3. That's 22 months of support. Let's go, nerds. Thank you, Igor. Gonna be lurking on YouTube on my TV. Ate my dinner, took my Oxy. I understand. Okay. That's out during stream. We're getting old. We're getting old. Yeah. Yeah, I was literally, I couldn't lay down flat. Because if I did that, it decompressed and allowed everything to swell up like more. I basically had to sleep at kind of an incline, and like I have a reclining couch thing with a couch with the two recliners on it, you know. that Ari and I share, and I basically had to sleep there and stay there all day, all night, to keep some pressure on my spine, but not a lot. I tried sleeping in bed the first night, and when I got up, I was like holding onto the door frame. After I got up, I stumbled in the door. I was holding on for like 5 minutes, just like, oh my God, this hurts so much. Please, just. I don't. This is not the way I want to go out. But it's okay. I'm much better now. I'm good. I'm good. I need to say hi to YouTube, but Do the Drew, what's up? Having a good one, yeah. And Rurutu, what's up? Now over in YouTube land, Christopher Crawford, what's going on? Always coming in with the enthusiasm, and I appreciate that. It makes me really wish I could have YouTube on the screen, but Twitch don't like that. Got to bounce at 8:25 p.m. Uh-oh. I think we missed the mark there. Sorry, Chris. Well, when you come back, I'll say hi. Here early so I won't be late. Well, Michelle, how did that work out for you? You got to witness the Bryothorn in its natural habitat. See as it emerges 15 to 20 minutes late. That's just my natural state of being. Vero, welcome. How's it going? Not first, but sure. I mean, you have that #1 badge there, so that's good. I can't see him. Can anybody else? Vero, I got to tell you, you got to keep a closer eye out. That thumbnail was staring right at you the whole time. And Steve, welcome. How's it going? Sailor X, how you doing? Peter, thank you for being in both streams. I appreciate that. Good one, Steve. Good one. Alice, welcome. Happy to see you. And Observer Thoughts, also thank you for being in both streams. That is much appreciated, guys. It's a great way to show, a great free way to show support. Just artificially boost those viewer numbers, but not in like the was it Ray J that did that? Not in that way, because you're actual people. And if you can't do that because you're not on a device that can look at multiple tabs, that's okay. Okay. And Tech Blacksmith, welcome. How's it going? Bears Junkie, right back at you. How you doing? Robert Fixit, welcome. Hello, Braythorn, eventually. Yeah, well, it's kind of my middle name. But how do you have a middle name when you have a single name like a supermodel? I don't know. Bray, eventually Thorn. TJ Sparks, welcome. How's it going? Egyptian Savage, how you doing? Welcome. I had sciatica pain for the past 4 weeks. Barutu, that sucks. Ugh. I'm sorry to hear that. Igor had the lymph nodes taken out from the left side of my throat on Wednesday, so I'm sleeping sitting up. Oh my goodness, Igor. Man. Guys, what do lymph nodes even do? What do they even do? They just like get swell. They just like swell up. Like, hey, you're sick, by the way. It's like, okay, cool. I don't know. I honestly, I probably should have followed my mom's example and gotten into the health field, but you know, I didn't because I'm too squeamish. Sick PC says I'm super sick. Well, yeah, it's in the name. Username checks out. Mikey, are you actually though? I would hate that to be true. It regulates body functions. So it releases hormones to regulate. Thank you, Rurutu. Appreciate the info. Help heal you, which is why cancer attacks them. Cancer's such a dick. That's a dick move. It's just like, what's the worst thing I could do to a person? Like cancer's just in there. Like, all right, this is my home. It's like something that's like in a home, and it's like I'm gonna wreck this whole place, and it's just messed up. That sucks, man. What's your favorite looking motherboard? I personally like the Gigabyte Aorus B850M Pro, to be honest. Egyptian Savage, I'm not big on MATX motherboards. It's like BITX or ATX. Pick a side, you know? Like make a decision. MATX is just too in the middle. You can get some good deals on MATX though, but I don't know. I mean, I wish it was just evenly dispersed, so that evenly distributed, so that ITX didn't cost so freaking much. That'd be great. Adrian Gonzalez, what's going on? I don't know if I already said hi, but if I did, I just did it twice. You're welcome. Recovering, actually. Oh, well, I mean, that's then you're on the better side of it. That's good, Mikey. That's good. Good to hear. Cancer sucks with a lot of bad words to go with it. Yeah, all the bad words for cancer. But yeah, Egyptian Savage, my favorite looking motherboard. There's a few. I mean, it's a bit polarizing apparently, and unfortunately it's a Z790, but the live mixer, the ASRock live mixer Z790. Also anything Gigabyte Ice generally is really, really nice looking, but I like the white aesthetic. Also, Asus, believe it or not, yeah, Asus makes great looking motherboards. We can all admit that. But Asus is their Formula line of boards, which was one of the earlier like white motherboards, but didn't have the white PCB. I had the Z690. I have the Z690 Formula in its box in the other room, and I'm just like, what do I do with this? Where's my 12900K? Which I think I sent that to Cuddles a while back. So, lucky guy there. That is still a champ right there. The 12900K. Borderlands 4, aka how to make a 5090 suffer. How to make any GPU suffer, apparently. From what I hear, if you're in certain areas, it's fine. Vaults, I guess, but isn't that like a Fallout thing? Whatever. I never played any Borderlands games. But apparently there it performs fine, but then open world, it's not great. I always assumed it was Braethorn Berry. Delicious. Thank you, Steve. Stop flirting. But thank you. I see the emotes. I see them. In a pre-built PC setup, says Dark, should I plug in the Ethernet or skip it for late after setting up the PC? Dark, first off, hi. Welcome to the stream. That's a greeting, I guess. But yeah, anytime you're booting up Windows, keep it off the internet if you're trying to do a local account. And there's instructions on how to set that up. Local only accounts in Windows 11. You can find those online. Oh, good. I got signed out. Great timing. How does Google know? I also don't like M-ATX, but in looks, it looks best. If ATX were like Gigabyte B650E Stealth Ice. Yeah, well, I mean, any of the you know, I should really look at the stealth stuff again, and BTF and Project Zero. I could have gone with any of those boards in the Tower 600, but the deal on the Gigabyte Aorus Master Z890 was way too good during Intel Gamer Days. What's up, Dark? But yeah, keep it offline while you're starting it up for the first time. Peckish YouTube, what's up? Peckish YT, yo, buddy, man. I just helped my friend build a new computer yesterday. Since it was over the phone and he didn't know much, we took 11 hours to get to booting it up. Holy crap! But no GPU in and no cable management. Is that okay pace? I mean, if you're basically playing Keep Talking and No One Explodes or whatever that game is called, but to build a PC, it's going to take a while. I mean, honestly, unless you were doing a FaceTime call and also you were building a PC at the same time with all the same parts and all the same stuff, although a lot of the concepts work across different platforms, it can be a little bit different, I guess. Not really. It's kind of the same, other than CPU cooler mounting solutions, whatever. Anyway, unless you were doing that, it's just going to take a while. Honestly, a lot of the time, the best thing to do is just find a great video to follow and use the visual instructions to do it. Sometimes we have to hold out his finger and guide him, and yeah, FaceTime. Okay. I like building PCs, but helping someone on the phone is a whole other skill set. Oh yeah, it takes patience for one thing. Okay, Peckish, you can be honest here. Okay, this is a safe space. Okay. Did you get impatient at any point? 11 hours. Come on. Come on. Did you get impatient, a little snippy, anything like that? At any point? You can be honest here. Even if it wasn't, even if they don't know, you can. This is a place where you can share it. Some people are just so dumb. A woman in Egypt stole 600 grams of gold, 4,500-year-old king necklace, and sold it for $4,000 while it's worth $3 billion? $3 billion? $3 billion. Like US dollars? Or like Egyptian dollars? I don't know what the currency is over there. Finally gave me something to do to try to rush him sometimes because we were trying to get it done someday, but no, never impatient. The more time, the better. Hey, I feel that. You know what? That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. But you know, honestly, I had the owner of Reactor Gaming reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, I watched the build," because he knew I was needing it. Like I talked to him here and there about me needing a new editing PC. He's like, I finally went and watched the stream, and he was like, it took a while, but damn, that PC came out amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know. I really, really took a long time on that build. 6 hours. I've built, I don't know how many PCs. It's in the triple digits. I've built a lot of PCs. It shouldn't take that long, but like, it was my birthday, man. I was chilling. I was having a good time. It was for an Egyptian queen. US dollars, it's 4,500 years old. I guess inflation over 4,500 years would push it up to 3 billion, probably. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. But that's crazy. I imagine they got it back, and that person just lost their $4,000. Or they got it back, maybe? I don't know. And relatively high end build, 7800X3D, 9060 XT, 16 gig, MATX, full black build, minimal cable management space, and it's going to be a big, yeah. So let me ask you, Peckish, with a high-end CPU, like the 7800X3D is like the third highest performance. Well, okay, I guess it competes. Well, I don't know where it stacks against the 9900X3D, not 9950X3D or 9800X3D. Those both end up having 8 cores with 3dB cache, whereas the 9900X3D ends up having 6. So I don't know where the 7800X3D stacks up against those, but it's one of the highest end gaming CPUs on the market versus a 9060 XT, even with the 16 gig being a like lower mid range GPU. What was the thought process of speccing it out that way? Are they focused on highly competitive 1080p gameplay? Did anyone get raptured? No. And it was my first time dealing with an AIO. I've always done air coolers, and over the phone it sucked. Peckish, I went over to the AIO side a long time ago, and I've never looked back. In all that time, knock on wood, I'm talking about maybe... When did I get that one Corsair one? Like one of the first Corsair AIOs. Like 15 years ago? 10 years ago? No, it was like 2012, maybe 20. I don't know when they first came out with it. Whenever that was. No, it was later than that. I don't know when it was. But I have never had an AIO leak. Not once. Knock on wood. There's real bamboo on this desktop. It ships better, more safely, than having a big old cooler hanging off your motherboard. Having most of the weight of the CPU cooler be mounted to the chassis is awesome for safety in moving the thing. It won't the cold plate won't shift on you, meaning you have to readjust, maybe reapply thermal paste. It's just so solid. Plus, it handles heat spikes much better than a standard tower cooler. Even a dual tower cooler doesn't handle heat spikes, soak heat spikes as well as a liquid cooler. It's just overall better IMO. It took a bit to get my SkyTech straightened out after I goofed and agreed to recover settings from my laptop. recovered more than settings. Windows product key. What a pain. Ended eventually buying an OEM key online from... Okay. All right. Well, Arcade, I guess that could have been worse. Interesting. I guess as long as it ends up working, after all, I suppose. Yeah, 1080p, high FPS, low latency, not necessarily competitive. We just want the FPS. We are FPS guys. Yeah, I mean, still packaged. The GPU is still like the most important component for gaming. So I feel like that spec, and you weren't asking for my opinion on the specs. I feel like that spec is a little upside down. Like maybe it could have been a little more towards the GPU, but if it's 1080p, you're actually going to see the benefit of 3D cache. Going to 1440p and then especially 4K with most games, you'll just stop seeing the benefit of that CPU. So she melted the gold and so, oh my God, that's horrible, Savage. That's terrible. Does 000 count as triple digits? Steve, I'm going to say for your math homework, yes. For how many PCs, for a number of times you've done a thing, I'm going to say no, because it's like exclamation points. One is enough. Sorry, Egyptian Savage, that is not aimed at you, by the way. FedEx will chuck your pre-built like a bale of hay, says Sailor X. What is it? What? Huh? Also, really surprised me because coolers are super cheap. But it had amazing fans that cost $32 by themselves. So still a gigabyte 240mm AIO, so it should be nice. Yeah, the only ones that I kind of stay away from, and sorry to MSI, but y'all have historically not supported your AIOs very well, even though you don't hear about MSI having like the worst RMAs in other stuff, motherboards, things like that. Look, to be clear, guys, there is not a company that has perfect RMAs or even very good ones when it comes to PC hardware because EVGA is not around anymore. And I'm not talking about fans or coolers. I'm talking about the main pieces of hardware. But there are some that are less worse than the others. MSI was supposed to be one of those, but when it came to supporting a known issue with their AIOs in a previous generation, with gunk buildup in them, they you can watch, go look up Greg Salazar MSI AIO. You'll see what I'm talking about. He covered it extensively and then blacklisted them because of the way they handled the situation. Zeno, what's up? Welcome. He's mainly playing competitive games, so yeah, and mostly CPU-heavy games and a GPU to keep up. Okay. All right. 800. Now that the Xbox is $800, is it time to do a console killer build? Rurutu, with the way pricing currently is, it's still kind of up in the air. I don't know if you can necessarily beat the gaming, just specifically focused in on the gaming experience. I still don't know if a PC can necessarily beat an Xbox Series X necessarily, as in a plug-and-play solution for just straight up $800. The truly budget PC is a rarity these days, but it's possible, I suppose. Egyptian Savage, height thick AIO leak. Yes, that is true. I simply am saying I've never had it happen to me. And what did Height do when they had that issue? That's the way MSI should have handled it when they were having the gunk buildup, when they realized over time, oh, this is a known issue. Instead of refusing RMAs for a known issue. Intel. Anyway, but yeah, Height issued the notification, the notice to everyone themselves, said take the thing out of your PCs. And this is specifically for the thick Q80. Their 360mm one that they had just come out with, and there was apparently a weak part in there that was causing issues, potentially being damaged in shipping, and they were just like, nope, we're going to swallow the cost on this. Do you guys understand how rough that is, considering how much money they lost to tariffs for half of this year? Like, it's crazy. And they were upfront with that in Steve's video on Gamers Nexus. What's up, Force Gaming Network? How's it going? Hey, since you're the motherboard guy, I don't know if I would take that title because, yeah, actually hardcore overclocking exists. Buildzoid exists. Is the ASRock X870E worth it for upgrades in the future? I'm really thinking of making the purchase. Right now, I wouldn't spend a lot on an ASRock AM5 motherboard, FGN, because of the issue. If you're going to go with X3D chip, particularly the 9800 X3D, or maybe any future 8-core, I don't know. They said that they fixed the problem. Of course, they would say that. We need to see if the number of people that we need to make sure everyone is actually upgrading. We can't make sure of that. We can't make people upgrade their BIOS or update their BIOS. That is up to them. But we need to see if issues continue with, not that it was a widespread issue, by the way, but it was a somewhat consistent issue, though on a very small scale. People had their 9800 X3Ds burning up on ASRock motherboards. So I would say potentially no if you're looking at 3D Vcache. ZTT still made a $400 PC on stream today. Yes, he did, Savage. Absolutely. And will that PC beat an Xbox Series X in just straight up gaming? That is what I said. I didn't say you couldn't build a somewhat decent starting gaming PC for, $800. Of course you can. Will it beat the experience of an Xbox Series X? Please pay attention to context. Blind Tech, what's up? Welcome. ASRock X870E Nova. Can't believe I forgot that part. My bad. No, that's the thing is if you're going to spend a bunch on a motherboard for AM5, you might not want to go ASRock right now. Even though I love their motherboards, I think they make fantastic motherboards. I don't care if the BIOS is a mess. Nobody has a perfect BIOS. And if you try to tell me, if you're a techie person and you're like, oh, Asus has the perfect BIOS, why can't they name things the same thing every other company does? Why they got to change the name on features that are basic features and make them all, they got to zazz them up with some Asus name. They're not perfect. That's annoying because even if it's well organized and pretty in the BIOS, first off, who freaking cares? If you actually care about that, you're spending too much time in the BIOS. And if you're a system integrator, your customers aren't going to do that. So that's not the excuse. But ASRock has all the same features. And as a matter of fact, they leave those features active even on their more budget-oriented boards. If the board supports it, if it's not a hardware-supported feature. Because it would be work to remove those features, probably. Mega Rock, what's up? Yo, can I ask you about what PC is suitable for me? Yes, you can. Please check the description of the stream. Blind Tech says, I'm actually trying to make my own PC brand to compete with a lot of the PC flippers and eventually compete with the bigger brands. I've been flipping PCs for 4 years now. Blind Tech, I wish you the best of luck. Being the pre-built guy, some people in chat here who are regulars can attest. I've had people ask me, because I've given feedback to system integrators for years now, and the good ones, a lot of them listen and make changes and things like that, and it's been for the better overall for their consumers and for the companies in a lot of ways, because things that make their configurators easier to navigate, configs that make more sense. Raising the bar on old standards like, it's 2024 or 2025. We're still buying 512 gig SSDs. Like, what? Have you downloaded a game in the last 3 years? What's wrong with you? 4 years? Like, no, it's not enough storage. So raising the bar on what minimum storage is at different price points, that kind of thing. You can imagine I've had people ask me, why don't you just start your own system integrator company? No. Because I've gained insider info now. It's really, really hard. And I don't think I would do a good job. If I've done giveaways of PCs that I built myself and just things like that, and I've sold some PCs too. It takes me a while to send them out. I'm too obsessed with it being perfect. And you just can't do that when you're an SI. unless you're absolutely top tier boutique and people know they're going to be waiting a while to get the product from you. So yeah, it's just not, I don't know. I wish you the best of luck with that. And if you've already been flipping PCs, keep in mind that competing with the bigger brands, let me be straight up with you. So when there was a certain system integrator that came to my attention, and I got to talking with the owner, and it was sort of a smaller one, more boutique oriented, right? But they were aiming to raise their volume. And in my first talk with the owner, he told me, I want to be the next iBuyPower. And I responded with, no, you don't. There is no way you want to do that. I've toured their facility, all right? It is a massive operation. It takes them a week to make something like a marketing decision to work with me on something. They have a committee for they have to, when you're a company when you're the biggest SI in North America. I was like, you're the face of your company. Like, this is your company. You run it the way you want. You make the choices, you make the decisions, and you give that up when you get that big. You have to. You can't do it all yourself. And if you're going to hire somebody to do something and then you're going to undercut them all the time, well, why did you hire them? So it's just little things like that. So competing with the bigger brands, you have to remember that the bigger brands sell hundreds of thousands of PCs a year. Skytech, for instance, was just telling me recently they did like 30 or 40 grand, 40,000 PCs last month or the month before. Or they get to tens of thousands of PCs a month. That's what it means to compete with the bigger brands, just so you know. That is the volume you have to get to match their pricing. Which is why I'm out here letting people know the difference between a high volume seller and price to performance oriented builds versus boutique. And the fact that for that boutique experience, you're going to pay more. That's how that works. You have your 3 Michelin star restaurant, and then you got your In-N-Out. In-N-Out makes amazing burgers. I really like In-N-Out. Or you got your Whataburger. I am from Texas. I can't mention fast food without talking about Whataburger's awesome. At least the ones that I have around here. You can find a bad Whataburger no matter where you go. Pretty good analogy for PC building companies, actually. But anyways, any restaurant chain is going to have their good ones and bad ones, whatever. We're not talking about food. We're just making an analogy. But they serve an important role in the industry, and the majority of people will go there and not the 3 Michelin star dining experience, right? But that 3 Michelin star experience, you can eat fast food your whole life. You will remember that one meal for the rest of your life. I said eventually I can compete with the bigger brands, not as of now, though. I say that because scope is important, right? And I have a weird position in this industry where I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in the consumer side, 1 foot. Like, I stare at configurators all day in a way that nobody who is in their bubble of their own SI company does, and it helps me give feedback and things like that. Whatever. I'm not patting myself on the back. It's really a weird position to be in, but knowing that scope, having that awareness, and having that roadmap can be really important. Because I'll have, just to give you an idea, I'll have the CTO of Skytech hanging out in chat, along with like Mikey here from Sick PCs, a boutique builder, and they're just chatting with each other because they understand at the end of the day they're not actually really competing with each other. One is a boutique builder, and the other is a high volume seller that sells through Amazon as well and Newegg, and you can find their stuff at Best Buy and also at their own website. Whereas the experience you get buying from a boutique builder is like, if that's your goal, like basically it's like, oh, I want to reach this scale and I'm comfortable there. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. It's none of my business. Your goals are what you want them to be. If you want to get to the point where you have a massive warehouse and, you know, a few hundred employees cranking out PCs, you do that. I'd love to see it. More competition in the high volume space, not a bad thing, IMO. Because I don't know. If there's a better company that can get those CyberPower PC customers away from their customer service, I'll be happy. Astro5090, what's going on? How's it going? Hi, Braithon. I read something online about new Xbox can run Steam. Rumors only and will not happen. It's all rumors. As far as I know. I don't really follow console stuff. Although, I mean, basically, Xboxes have been leaning more towards becoming just like Windows gaming PC kind of experience without having the benefits of full-on Windows. We'll see. So I haven't been looking at Twitch chat that much. I'm sorry. We're back from ads now finally. Also, is it actually a thing or is it a placebo that black cases are higher quality than white cases? Peckish, that is what's called an opinion. When you say black cases just look higher quality, that is what we call in the industry an opinion. I personally think if you're proud of something, you make a white version of it. If you're proud of your manufacturing, if you're proud of it, like, because the thing is, flaws are more apparent in a light colored product, especially something in white. So the reason you might that you might be looking at a PC case that has a lot more issues with it, but it's painted in black, which hides those crimes. I guess I tried setting to the factory after calling tech support. Shout out to Kanoa Stevens. Okay, cool. But no joy, and it was after hours on Friday by the time I got done. I needed my PC for school. Well, I'm glad it got fixed up though. Arctic is excellent for their RMAs. Too bad they fit in basically nothing. Those Skullcandy earbuds, I got it pretty good. Nice to hear it, Lone Bucket. Welcome. Silent Furies. What's I don't know if I said hi earlier, but I did read your chat. But hi. If they say they fix it, then they are held accountable for any issues and must replace it for free. Assume, I guess, the law states. What? Peckish? It's probably 1 in 2,000 getting... What do you want to gamble a $500 part? What are we... I missed something. I mean, it was probably in response to something I was saying, but... You say L camera tracking? Okay, Peckish, I did fall behind on chat, but you don't need to spam it with highlight my message. I did get to that. Build quality-wise, okay, yeah. I rebuilt 3 PCs this week. Spent over 50 minutes in the BIOS. Yeah, but then you're done, right? And if you're a system integrator cranking out computers, you set up the BIOS and you back up that BIOS setup if you're going to be using a lot of the same motherboards, which high-volume sellers tend to try and do if they can. There's some sellers that motherboard manufacturers or distributors cannot keep up with that specific model. But anyways, if you know you have 50, you set up the BIOS once and you load that BIOS into all of them. You basically load that profile into all of them, and you're good to go if you're going to be doing stuff in BIOS. If not, I mean, really, with high-volume sellers, they just update, make sure the BIOS is up to date, and set up XMP or Expo. Pretty easy stuff to do. Do you have the time and clientele to be the Bugatti of custom PCs? No. iBuyPower sells a lot to big box stores. They do. Skytech is in Costco and Amazon and Newegg and in Best Buy. I feel like he isn't reading Twitch chat because I kind of be spamming. You kind of did. I was responding to somebody else. Peckish, if you hear me responding to somebody else and going through a whole tirade about it, I can't be responding to them and you at the same time. I do have to split my attention between YouTube and Twitch. The case is the AeroCool P300C, and my friend got the black version, and his just looks insane, infinitely higher quality. It sounds like you just prefer a black case. Thermaltake tower cases got 6+ colors. Thank you, Urutu. They do. They're really cool colors, too. I said I assume that there's a law. If the company says something is safe, then they're accountable for it. I mean, I guess the problem is with something like burning up CPUs, it's not going to be immediately apparent because you can't track whether the person has the latest BIOS or everybody's getting it or not, unless you like shut down the hardware remotely somehow, which I don't think I'd want motherboard manufacturers to be able to do that with my PC. So that's not a thing. So we'll see. Exiled Wolf, what's up? Welcome. Tech Grant, what's up? Welcome. All right, Egyptian Savage, we will be here. Thanks for hanging out. Did you talk to Phoenix PCs? How are they doing? Did they find other positions? What's up, humanity? Yeah. I have spoken with them. The thing is, it was getting pretty bad over there, and from what I understand, most of the guys already had a separate source of income as well to keep the project going. So, yeah. If I send the whole specs list of the PC I spec'd and guided my friend to build, would you rate it? It's perfectly fine if no. I guess. The thing is, we actually have some people who have filled out the form. The thing is, no one has actually told me, hey, I filled out the form and I'm waiting for help. So we had Will Baggins, who filled it out on the 18th. And then we had Playboy Ray and CRA9, who have filled it out today. But no one in chat has said, hey, I'm on the list. Help me out. I don't automatically know, guys. You do have to let me know. I just by chance looked. I was like, oh, people have entered their forms. So if you're here and you filled out the form, you should say something. Let me know. But yeah, Peckish, I can do, if you have like a PC part picker list, I can do that. But as I already said, in my opinion, I think it was a little upside down, as in a little bit more in the CPU than the GPU. But I mean, it will, if at 1080p, 9060 XT 16 gig is still going to do great. But like, I don't know if you're near a Micro Center. I would have said 7600 X3D if available. You can also get those on eBay as well. 7600 X3D would have saved some money on the CPU, and then that could have gone to going up a tier on the GPU. On Reddit, a guy left a cup of water on his PC. He woke up to his PSU sparking. Well, I mean, that was just a recipe for disaster right there, Sailor. Sounds like a Reddit thing that would happen. Yeah. Yeah, we got people on the list. We'll see. Can I just send the list in chat? Okay. Peckish, you may not have been seeing this constantly posting in chat, okay? Because, like I said, I've got people on the list waiting for help. They just need to sound off that they're here. But I'll go ahead, even though it's been posting in chat, I'll go ahead and post this for you here as well. There you go. That's the form you need to fill out to get on the list to get something like that. Because I also will just scrutinize a parts list or things if you've already bought. The thing is, I don't know how I feel about when someone asks me to look at something they've already done, because if I don't like it, do I lie? You know, I've already kind of given my opinion on the primary specs. So if you look at that form, though, at the very end of the list, there is a place to put a link. There's a place where you can put a link in there. Make sure you do that. Do not miss doing that. Oh, you're all good. It's okay. I've been thinking about something. What if I brought on, for PC matchmaking, like a guest here and there to do PC matchmaking with me as y'all enter the forums? Like what? I don't know. I know Danny's a busy guy, but like I'm bringing the nerd on a budget to work with me on that, because we'll get someone in here who's gonna has a budget that's more in his range, because he really does some really awesome builds at that price range. Of course, Zach as well, but Zach is way too busy for that. Maybe some other guys like that. Chris, Coalition Chris, that'd be pretty cool. Just other content creators, that'd be fun. That I've worked with in the past. That would be a lot of fun to do. And I think what is it? I know he messaged me on Discord, and I need to. I'm behind on my Discord DMs, by the way. I need to reach back out to Chris because we're supposed to do something at TwitchCon or after TwitchCon, because I don't think he's going to TwitchCon, but I'm going to be in his area after that. So we might do something then. Coalition Gaming, awesome channel. Y'all need to be following that if you're not already. No, it's fine. I agree with the if it's already done with it, don't worry about it thing. I'll just leave it. Thanks for the opinion anyways. That's okay. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, let me see something real quick. Let me go to PC part picker real quick. And let me look at the price of... It's going to show the 8 gigs first. Okay. And there we go. The lowest price is $350 for a 9060 XT 16 gig. That's pretty damn good, but is it actually available? Because sometimes it'll say available soon. No, it's in stock. Okay. So $350. So what if we look at something like a... Yep, lowest price. No, wow. Those are not easy to find, I guess. Now that's $200 more. Once you get to 7700 XT, it's going to be behind. Lowest price on a 9070 is $600. AMD, what are y'all doing? What is this price swing between $350? There's a gap from $350 to $599 to $600. That's so dumb. There's so much room to play there. But let me see. What was the... Oh, you got it, Tech Grant. Appreciate it. You have to tell the truth. Better know how to upgrade. Mm-hmm. So it's $600 for the cheapest. $550 is the lowest. Was the original launch announcement MSRP for the 9070, and it was $50 less than the 9070 XT. Like, presumably nobody was going to buy it, and now you're seeing it for $599. So, like, what is with this gap? What is with this gap between? And I mean, we're talking about the 16 gig 9060 XT, not the 8 gig. 16 gig for $350 versus $250 more for the next step up. Like, if they had made if they had made it a 9080 and 9080 XT and then launched the 9060s, and then you have the 70 class cards in the middle later on, that would fit perfectly into that range. The 7700 XT, when its price originally started dropping, it was such a good deal. And that's what the 9070 should have been, or 9070 XT. That's what they should have been. That, like, oh, this is 1440p performance for like 1080p money. Let's go. Is that price for 9070 GRE to fill? I mean, I guess it'd make that $499, right? What if there's like a 9060 XTX and like that's like $425? Right now, excuse me. Right now, the GPU market is like kind of okay, also kind of terrible in a way. And it's shifting a little bit from day to day. And for the most part, from most sources, I'm hearing CES 2026 50 series supercards announced. Are they going to drop like right after? Could be a couple months. Who knows? But that generally will mean you're probably going to see like 5070, 5070 Ti, 5080. Those are going to start lowering production. They may be just to where they're cleared out from the market to make way for the supercards, which maybe they'll be the same price. Maybe they'll be $50 more each. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Humanity says, what is TwitchCon like? Do you see your viewers go? I have run into viewers at TwitchCon and PAX. Honestly, PAX West was fun. That was a few years ago. I miss going to PAX events. But I haven't, ever since I got Twitch Partner, I haven't missed a TwitchCon. A TwitchCon San Diego. Well, basically like the autumn TwitchCon in San Diego. One year it was in Vegas, and that was a huge mistake, and I hated it. But then it was back in San Diego where it belongs. But I love TwitchCon San Diego. It's a lot of fun. And the thing is, guys, I'm not in the status where it would be like, oh, let's do a meet and greet and have a long line at the table. That ain't me. All right. Those are streamers who have like concurrent viewership of like thousands of people there. Right. Like I go to TwitchCon mostly to meet and or hang out with fellow streamers, content creator buddies, talk to some of the companies that are there, because that's where more streaming stuff happens. And I like streaming. And I would honestly at some point like to cover more streaming tech. That's a pretty well covered category, but I'm not looking at the advanced stuff. I'm looking at the basic stuff, like how to get started in it. And I really want to do content about that like I used to. I used to do that that's how I started this channel. With a guy who had just hit affiliate on Twitch, trying to tell people some tips for streaming. But really it was like, hey, here's how to get really budget lighting. Hey, here's the basics on your audio stuff. Like different kinds of microphones, the real basic stuff. Because I did know the technology doesn't, I don't know, whatever. Are they going to release things to combat NVIDIA supercards? Rurutu, they ain't got nothing to combat NVIDIA's regular cards other than the 9070 XT. Oh, and of course, NVIDIA sucks on the low end, the 5060. So the 9060 XT. Like, the supercards are going to pull 50 series, the ones that get super. This is what I mean by that, okay? Price to performance on 9000 series Radeon is good if you can find it at MSRP. You usually can't with the higher end ones, the 70 class ones, but whatever. Where MSRPs are good, AMD kind of just wins on rasterized frames. That's not a new story. That's kind of been every generation. They win on price to performance. A lot of other stuff that NVIDIA brings to the table, but Radeon is catching up with that. I didn't say caught up, catching up with that. But, yeah. Will Baggins says, hello, Brayathon. I'm getting the PC next week. Screw waiting for Black Friday. Will, hey, you know how you filled out the form? Like, I can help you find a PC. Let me see. What are you doing? The gaming, pro gaming, esports. Okay, I can already tell you right now, Will, that is not the right PC. No, do not buy that PC. Wherever that was from, that is not the right PC. Do not buy that. You do not need a 9900 X3D for an esports gaming PC. Also, you put pro gaming esports and chose 4K for your resolution. We got to talk. We have talking to do. Yo, speaking of talking, Drewmatic Gaming rating with a party of 8. Let's go, nerds. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, Drewmatic. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. I'll drop a little shout out there. Another one. And another one. Thank you, Drewmatic. You were doing just chatting over there. Nice. What's going on? How you doing? How was your stream? Okay, posture check. Fair. That's fair. That is a reasonable posture check. I have a 9800 X3D 5070 Ti ready to ship for Will. Okay, Mikey, calm down. Okay. I like it when you hang out, but you're not here to advertise. You're here to, you know, you can answer some questions and stuff. Jesus. What? Oh, that's right. Water Park Sim. Same as last time. Will. Yeah, you're not here like, all right, sold. That always makes me feel a little awkward. Okay. Will. Yeah, B-Rob, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna cover that. Will, you got to tell me what's going on here. Where did you find that PC? And I guess you can't send me a link if you're on. Is it from Best Buy or Amazon, or where are we looking at that from? Is it from SkyTech? What are we talking about here? But yeah, Will, you like when you came in, you could have told me, "Hey, I'm here, I'm on the list, and I'm ready to do my yeah, okay." That's not the PC for you. That's not the right PC. I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Don't worry. But it's not the right one. So it sounds like it is a now you got it. Was it on SkyTech's actual website, like their site directly, or was it on Amazon or Newegg or what? Let's take a look. Oh, they got some clearance builds right now. That sounds interesting. But we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to the Vision line of PCs. Right? I'm sure I can just go here and search Vision. That's a 2 terabyte. That's not matching. No. There, that might be the one. Yep, that's the one. Okay, we found it. Okay. Didn't you say you wanted a black PC? Oh yeah, Drewmatic, by the way. Again, thank you for the raid. Thank you for bringing your community here. Sorry, I got caught off guard by this this form entry here. The person suddenly showing up. But you just finished streaming. You got to, if you want to take a screen break, go chill, do something like that. Go grab a bite, relax, do your after stream stuff. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you for raiding. Feel free to do that. I've done my fair share of raid and dips. There's a better. Someone phrased that better. But anyways, but yeah, I appreciate it. Mama Matic says W for the raid with Drew. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming along with Drew, and then actually, because you know I know how it is. You just watched a stream and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go do this again with a stranger. No, for real though, for real. I do appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. What I do here is I help people with PC stuff that are usually people who are new to PCs or it's been a long time and they're looking to get some help finding the right pre-built or putting together a parts list for a build. I do it for free and it's a lot of fun. Extra V. So do I just say rune for that? Is it 10 rune 5? But yeah, lots of W's going on. Yeah, but white will be fine. Okay, let me tell you why this is the wrong PC. Okay? You get a 9900X3D or a 9950X3D when your use case here, what you're going to use the PC for, says more than just gaming. You don't need 12 cores. You don't need 24 threads. You don't need 16 cores in the 9950X3D. You don't need 32 threads. And when you turn on a game, do you know what happens with a 9900X3D or a 9950X3D? Okay? Half of those cores shut down. So, the gaming performance of a 9900X3D it can be measurably lower than the gaming performance of the cheaper 9800X3D. For no reason for you. It makes no sense for you because you're not like, okay, I'm done gaming, time to edit some videos, or time to, time to go do some work in Blender or anything like that. You're not doing that stuff. So the 9900X3D is, not the right one. It's not the right CPU for you. And it actually will get you lower performance in most games at 1080p anyway than a 9800X3D. Now, the other thing is this. You stated pro gaming / esports. I'll need you to elaborate on that a little bit because you then said you'd be gaming at 4K. And pro gamers, esports, athletes do not game at 4K. Even a 5090 is not going to come close to the 1080p performance that you would get out of a 5070 Ti. The 1080p is just so much easier to run than 4K. So something to remember. You're also looking for a boutique build, and that's not something that you're necessarily going to find. With Skytech puts together a great PC. If you look at their reputation in the Discord, it's fantastic. In the SI testimonials channel for Skytech, the stories people tell of their buying experiences and ownership experiences are great. It's not a boutique builder, though. They're a high-volume seller, which is the price-to-performance option. That's why, when you look at this build, the fans don't match. If this were a boutique build, that would drive me crazy. And what's the deal with these cables just kind of hanging out there? What's going on with that? That's not boutique. Boutique means attention to detail. In many cases, obsessive attention to detail. Look, you got 5 black fans and 3 white ones on there because this is a white AIO. That makes sense. All they didn't do was put matching fans over here. Are those reverse flow fans? No, they're not. But they're set to intake. They should be reverse flow. Just things like that. It's not a boutique build. So if you choose boutique, it's because you want to be like anybody gets a gaming PC that looks like this. It doesn't matter if you might not ever notice the things that I've been mentioned just now, other than the fact that I just pointed them out to you. Anybody who got this would have an awesome PC. That's not my job. My job is not to show you a PC that's generally great. My job is to help you find the PC that is the best that I can come up with for you at your budget based on the things you tell me. And based on that, some of the things you're telling me are a little bit conflicting with each other, like pro gaming / esports and 4K gaming. That's doesn't necessarily go together. You also said that, well, I don't know. I don't know which company to go for, but I have my eyes on Skytech. If you have your eyes on Skytech, when someone tells me directly that they're interested in a specific SI that's in good standing with our community, I'm not going to argue with that. Okay? But we can find you something better, I think. More appropriate, I should say. And all we got to do is we're going to just refresh this. Just going to go to the basic pre-built gaming PCs thing. And we're going to pick a more appropriate CPU for that pro gaming / esports option there, the 9800X3D. And that is going to rule out that unnecessarily expensive CPU, which is actually going to give you less gaming performance than this one. I will mostly be using it for gaming. Yes, you did tell me that, Will. I want to remind you that you filled out a form. I'm not sure if you filled out a form here. And you chose gaming and pro gaming / esports. That to me means you're mostly going to be using it for gaming. So let's try to get on the same page. Real quick, just to double check, what is your actual maximum cap budget? Like the maximum solid number of money dollars that you can spend on your PC comfortably. And that not a range, not like, well, I could do $2,750 to $3,129. No, give me an actual solid number, not a range. just so I can adjust. If you look at the ones before yours, I always do that. I narrow it down to the actual budget. So what would that be? I'm just going to ask direct questions at this point. I think I've been a little too all over the place. Yeah, Rune. Awesome, Rune. Well, welcome to the stream. I hope you like computers. I yell about them a lot. $3,200. Okay. I'm not doing it, chat. We're not doing it. Don't worry. I mean, not don't worry, but I should say sorry, actually. Okay, $3,200. So we're going to lower this to about $3,350 because I do have a discount code here. So a couple of things. If you're mostly gaming, you don't necessarily need the 4 terabytes of storage. Oh, it's not a bad thing to have. I'll tell you that. See, look at this right here. King 95, 9800X3D, same GPU with a 5080, 2 terabyte Gen 4 drive, which should be more than enough. Also, this is a lot. This is a good amount cheaper. Let me make sure I'm on the right price, high to low. Yeah. Oh, see, this one actually has that same 4 terabyte drive. So let's talk about this. This is a King 95 Pro. This is one of my favorite cases that came out recently, last year or two. Okay, I love this case. Let's talk about how much better this PC is. First off, you're going to have better CPU performance with a 9800X3D in gaming. Now, if you're gaming at 4K, understand that the CPU isn't doing all that much in a lot of games. If it's specifically, from what I understand, Call of Duty uses CPU more than a lot of other games, even at higher resolutions, cool. Real-time strategy games, Rust, the list keeps growing, but very slowly. Most games are more GPU oriented than CPU at higher resolutions, like 1440p and 4K. Either way. But the 9800X3D is the top gaming CPU on the market if gaming is what you're focused on. If you're gaming and doing other stuff, then it's the 9950X3D and you're spending more on your PC. Let's see. RTX 5080. 16 gigs VRAM. Could have been higher, NVIDIA, let's be honest. But still, fantastic. This thing has become more appealing now that at least regular market prices have gotten closer or right on top of where the MSRP was announced back in January, around $1,000. 64 gigs DDR5, but here's the thing. DDR5 6000 versus what we have here, 64 gigs of DDR5 5200. What a waste of a 64 gig kit for AMD. AMD, 9000 series AMD, you generally want to be around 6,000 megatransfers per second. Okay, I don't know the cast latency on this, which is unfortunate. High volume sellers typically don't, a lot of them won't have all the details of all the parts. There's probably several different kits that they might use in here, but this is going to be a much better frequency for 9000 series Ryzen. 4 terabyte Gen 4 drive, same here, same storage. Okay, 360 millimeter AIO, 360 millimeter AIO. B650 versus X870. The thing is, you don't need an X870 motherboard. B650 will be fine because you're just gaming. You don't need a ton of I/O. 6 USB ports or so, you're usually fine. Lone Wolf, what's up? 1440p is a sweet spot for gaming. It tends to be that, yeah, and I recommend it all the time. And it's a lot more achievable than some might realize. But I think this is going to be a change here. One downside here is the difference between the 1,000 watt ATX 3.0 power supply versus the 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply that comes in this PC. But you are looking at $100 cheaper. You can basically point at that and say, hey, this has better RAM, power supply, a little lower wattage. 850 is within the recommended power supply wattage for a 5080 system. I generally will tend to go a little higher for a 5080 and then even higher if it's a 5090. But yeah, overall, this is not only does this match the colorway that you wanted a black PC, but this is going to get you better performance in esports titles, high frame rate, competitive titles. It's just that's just now. Is the difference huge? Well, you're looking at 2 cores of difference between in the gaming mode, basically in core parking. When the 9900X3D, when you turn on a game, you have a 6-core CPU. 6 cores. That's all. Not 12. 6 of the cores shut down, so you have 6 left. Okay. With a 9800X3D, there is 0 core parking to worry about, and you have all 8 cores, 16 threads for any games that actually can utilize higher core counts. Looks like same storage, same cooler, but I think a more cohesive if you're talking about aesthetics, I would say that this aesthetic is more cohesive overall than this one. That has, mismatched fans and wires are more apparent here. That's the thing about a white PC build. You got to be careful with your cable management, especially if they are perfectly contrasting with the enclosure in which they are in. In which they are in is a sentence I just said, and I feel bad about that. How's your day going? Came across you on my recommended page. I'm a PC nerd, still in the learning process. Lone Wolf, this is a great place for you then. What I do is, as you see in the title, PC matchmaking. People will fill out a form that's linked in chat there. Also have a YouTube stream going too. They have it in the description. You fill out the form, and it gives me most of the information I need to make a pretty solid recommendation of either a good pre-built PC or a parts list for a DIY build if it's your first build or your first build in a long time. Either way, I help with that stuff. I keep my brain immersed in the PC hardware meta of what's going on, what some of the best parts are, some of the best part combinations, what works for different purposes of builds. Oh, I got to edit video. This is what works for that. I want to build a streaming PC. This is what works for that. I want to build a PC that can game, stream, and edit video, and I want to do Blender. All right, I got you. I have sort of cracked the code on a lot of that and sort of boiled it down to a science. What about the motherboard? The 011 version had an X870. This one has a B6. Will, I literally talked about that. Are you behind on the stream? Hold on. Please refresh the stream. I think you are behind. TL Foreman, what's up? Welcome. Also, Michael Sanders. Hope you're doing great. Welcome. XM build currently is my 3rd build. Nice. 13600K, DDR5 6000, 3060, 12 gig. Okay. What do you do with it mostly? I don't know why I'm seeing this so much though. Maybe because of GPU availability, but a lot of the time I've been seeing like CPU and GPU rather than what it usually is supposed to be for gaming anyway, GPU above CPU. But yeah, Lone Wolf, the only thing I would say about that 13600K build is to make sure that you are up to date on the latest microcode or the latest BIOS on that motherboard. Make sure that 13600K is not at as much a risk as an i7 or i9 would have been, but you still want to make sure it's not cooking itself. Okay, yeah. Will, the downside to you refreshing the stream is that you missed me explaining all of that and giving my thoughts on it. You don't need X870 features if you're just gaming. You don't need a ton of I/O, any of that stuff. And what people are talking about when they're if people are saying, "Oh, you got to go X870 instead of B650 if you want to be able to upgrade in the future," it's not the chipset that matters as much as the socket. Socket AM5. That's what's being supported into the future. Now, once the socket has been around for like 8 years, yeah, they'll stop supporting like the really old chipsets after a really long time. But that's still a lot of longevity in one socket. Just ask Intel. I got to find out where to update the BIOS. The CPU has been kind of overheating in most cases of installing shaders in games. Been seeing 80 to 100C. Well, Lone Wolf, I got good news for you. That CPU is designed to go up to 100C for extended periods of time and work just fine. As for where to update the BIOS, all you got to do is install a program like Hardware Info 64, which can tell you. Well, I mean, you should know exactly what motherboard model you have, brand and model, and then you just go look up the brand and model. Like if it's say, I don't know, MSI X670E Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. Just Google that. Go to the manufacturer's website. Go to support, downloads, and BIOS, and get the latest one and install it. But here's the thing. If you're going to update your BIOS, you make sure that usually the ideal situation is to have a battery backup that your PC is on. Because if you completely lose power and your PC shuts down during writing the new BIOS, you might have bricked your motherboard. So make sure that you have at least a really good surge protector. But honestly, a battery backup is always a good thing to have for your PC. Beast Brawls says hello by walking up to you and demanding information. Hi, Beast Brawls. What good GPU can I pair with my Ryzen 7 5700G? Well, Beast Brawls, I'd be happy to help you out. You see, because you didn't give me a budget, I'm going to assume that you can spend whatever you want. So I'm going to say a 5090. Thanks for asking. I love when people ask you for information but refuse to provide you with any information to help you give advice. It's my favorite thing. Anyways, welcome to the stream, Beast Brawl. Unfortunately, that's not really how it works. Please check out the description because you see, I'm helping someone right now that filled out the form that they saw in the description, and that you can do that for upgrades too if you're trying to upgrade your GPU, something like that. Yeah. Hope you did not get a long ad like I did. What, Willie, what's up? Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear about the long ad. But thank you for confirming that you're not an ad blocker, I guess. YouTube thanks you. I mean, I just use YouTube Premium personally. Like I can cancel all my other streaming services. YouTube is my primary form of entertainment. And I watch it on my TV all the time, so ad blockers, like, I'm not going to try to put an ad blocker in my like Amazon Firebox thing. Anyway. Oh, by the way, Will, this one is listed for immediate shipping, which is pretty cool. I really like their rose gold King 95. It is such a nice looking case. This one's got the Trix panorama, but that's probably why it drops it down to a 5070 Ti. What if we're about as high in the budget as we want to go. So, Will Baggins, do you have any feedback for me? I basically said you don't necessarily need to worry about having a little bit less I/O if your PC is dedicated to gaming only or mostly gaming, but also on the 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply, that is technically fine for a 5080 build. I just personally, if you hang out here a lot, you'll hear me recommend higher wattage just because I like to have the extra headroom. And that is basically, it fits within what the minimum NVIDIA recommends for the power supply. Will, what's up? I paid, I believe, $50 in Micro Center to update my BIOS because that's scary. I mean, you could have put that $50 towards a battery backup, but battery backup that's like 1/6 of the price of the battery backup you probably need to get for a mid-tier, high-end gaming PC. Rolando Villegas, what about the Eclipse Lite 2 and deals of the week, Braythorn? It didn't pop up here. I used the settings. Wait, what happened? I used the settings here to basically find the ideal PC, and it didn't pop up. So let's see what you're talking about real quick. Deals. 5080 in in most circumstances, is going to beat the 9070 XT. Also, this has half the storage. And what else? X670 is an upgrade over B650, but it does have the 1,000-watt power supply. It's a nice PC, but you're losing half your storage. You don't need 64 gigs of DDR5 with a gaming PC, but as games seem to unravel and get less and less optimized, it certainly couldn't hurt. But the difference in the 9070 XT and the 5080, even if you're just looking at resale value, it's always going to be higher with an NVIDIA card. And the 5080 is a much higher end card than the 9070 XT in the general sense. So it will be best to buy a 1,000 power supply after I get the King 95 PC. I don't think you need to do that. Here, let's try this. Let's try this. If you got your eye on Skytech, but what they have is not exactly lining up with what you want. Let's do this. Let's see what we can do here. Did you like that O11 Vision? Maybe you want it in black instead? Or did you like the case I was showing you with the King 95 Pro, if they have it anyway? Ooh, they got the Evolve X2. Actually, I haven't really seen any builds with this in black, like in person. Maybe I have. It must look really clean in black. Remember this. The TGP of the because when we're talking about power supplies, basically the projected power draw, peak power draw of a 5080 is 360 watts. The projected peak power draw of a 5090 is 575. That is more than 200 watts more. That is more than most graphics cards even use. Just in the difference between the two. And plus, there were improvements in efficiency and temperatures and stuff between 7000 series and 9000 series CPUs from Ryzen. It's crazy seeing Escape from Tarkov on Steam showing for recommended 64 gigs of RAM. Yeah, they know their flaws. They might even be proud of them. How you doing, bro? Good stuff here. Yeah. I'm doing okay. Skeeter, what's up? What are we working on tonight? We're trying to squeeze the most out of a Skytech build, basically. See, here's the thing, Will. You can basically choose any part. We can choose any parts we want. You get that Skytech build. It takes a little longer to get it. But here's a really cool benefit. You can... Not that. That's the wrong button. We don't need speed lines for that. I meant to do this. Here we go. You can actually watch them build it live on stream, which is pretty cool for a larger company to be able to do that, but they just do it with their custom builds. Okay? But yeah, we can pick any case we want out of all these cases that are available. It's a really good selection, actually. So we go O11 Vision Black. I feel like the back and forth between us, Will, is pretty slow, so I might have to forge ahead a little bit. It's an interesting looking cooler. I wish I could zoom in on it. Oh, you can fit a 420 radiator in here. Nice. Interesting. Let's see. I'm going to look up this cooler. I want to see images of it. So it basically has this RGB panel here. It's not a screen. It's just a lot of light. You did say you wanted a lot of RGB. So do you want RGB in your build? Yes, and a lot of it was your response. So yeah, we'll leave that one on there. You don't need more than a 360 for a 9800 X3D. Now for the motherboard, we can go X870. If you really want to. I don't think you need to, but you seemed a little hung up on that. So, or we can go B850, which is the more up-to-date version of the B650. Now, the B850, it's not going to be overloaded with I/O that you're not going to use, meaning a bunch of USB ports that you just don't need because you just need your mouse, keyboard, your headset, stuff like that. Maybe a controller, things like that. So we choose that one. There you go. Okay, it's 9070 XT right now. So we go with, let's see, 5080. Model varies. That's 380. What else we got? That's the 15080 they got. Okay. Oh, there's PNY and Gigabyte. We'll go Gigabyte. Because it's actually cheaper than the PNY one. That's crazy. In case you do play something like Escape from Tarkov, we could go 64 gigs of RAM, but I don't think we necessarily need to. That's 32 gigs, DDR5 6000, CL30. $1,000-watt power supply. Good to go. Let's see what options we have in that. Actually, I'm curious about the Enermax. Let me see. Revolution 3. Okay, let's... I don't know every power supply in detail, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the PSU tier list. Enermax Revolution 3. Where is it? It just says Revolution 3. I don't see it on here, so we'll look at the full list. Revolution 3 is currently showing an A rating. I'll take that. Storage, 4 terabytes, PCIe Gen 4. Very nice. Thank you, Vero. Appreciate it. There's a 5080 Eclipse Lite 2 build and deals the week you had to scroll down. Got it. I'm just looking through the options here for storage. I mean, we're still under budget here. And that's with us choosing everything. What can we do in fans, actually? Nothing. I don't know why that's there. You could go with 4 terabytes of PCIe Gen 5, but it's a pretty big leap in price to do that, as it should be. Yeah, this is probably in keeping with exactly what they were going to use in what they're using in the other builds. But with this, you don't have to go in and buy a 1,000-watt power supply and add it in. This is the full build. It's all done. And before my discount, it is $3,022. That is more than the other prices we saw, but we got to pick all the parts. We got to pick the case. You can still pick a different case if you want. There's some decent options here that continue if we scroll down. You can go with the O11 Dynamic Evo if you want, which is a little bit more straightforward as a dual chamber case than the Vision. I'm just needing some kind of response from you. I'm not getting any positive or negative responses from you. And I don't know how to proceed. So sorry, just finishing up some paperwork. Okay. Will, I do want to remind you that you did prompt me to start helping you by coming in and saying, hey, I want to buy this PC here. I'm not waiting. When you tell me something like, I'm not waiting, I'm going to drop everything because you're on the list and I'm going to start helping you. If you're not ready for that because you're doing other stuff, you should probably hold off on coming in and starting up the process. Because I've just been spinning my wheels here. I built you a whole PC. Like, I built you a full custom PC. I feel like you're behind again on the stream. Like, it's like lagging or something for you. Vero says Gen 5 runs too hot. Then cool it. That's why some motherboards that can run Gen 5 drives actually have cooling fans. The one that I put into the RGB PC, which I guess I can't really call it that because it's just going to seem like it's a PC with RGB. But no, it's literally my mascot. But anyways, it's the PCB. That could have been another name for our mascot, by the way. I'm here. I refreshed it. The problem with refreshing it and also not being here while I'm explaining everything is, guess what that might be? I got to explain it all again. So let's do that. But I need to know that you're here, you're with me, because I've been talking to a wall this whole time, apparently. Like, I explained the thing, why B650 is fine for you 2 times. 2 times. You shouldn't be worried about it because you should have heard me first time, because you started me helping you by coming in to say, hey, I want to buy this. Okay. Well, okay. I went to the custom builder and I built a PC with everything perfectly picked out for you. Okay. We got a B850 motherboard. You don't need an X anything motherboard. You're not doing anything more than gaming, right? You're focused on gaming on this system. You don't need an X870 motherboard. Okay? So, with that all settled, this is the updated version of the B650. It's the B850. Okay? Saves you a good chunk of money on your motherboard. Has all the features you need. We have 360 millimeter AIO cooler. I wasn't getting a response on the cases because I was asking you which one you wanted. So I went ahead and picked the O11 Vision, but in black, in the color you originally chose. But you can also choose the O11 Dynamic Evo RGB if you. There's all these cases to choose from. When I send you the link for this, you can change stuff if you want to. So I went with a 9800X3D, arguably the correct CPU choice for your build. I went with a 5080. I went with a 1,000 watt power supply that is highly rated on the SPL's PSU tier list. I went with 32 gigs of DDR5 6000, though I can up that to 64 gigs. Let me see if they have 64 gigs in black. They have it in white. Oh, they do. Yeah, there we go. Wait. Kingston DDR5 6000, 2x32. CL30, and it's negative $10. We're going with the Kingston. Obvious. Why didn't I see that before? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we actually saved money going with that. Okay, 64 gigs DDR5 6000, 4 terabytes Gen 4 storage, and it's before my discount, 3012. Before my discount, but we chose every part. Vero says VRM thermals better on X870 though? Question mark? Question mark? Vero, that would only matter if you're doing actual overclocking. Like if you're doing XOC or anything close to XOC. Anything above just turning on PBO, then you can worry about your VRM thermals. The average user, even in under load with the CPU under load, everything, like this is not going to be a bargain bin motherboard. It's the Asus Tough Gaming B850 Plus. It's a pretty stout motherboard. That's what these things are designed to be like. What's up, Alucard? How's it going? Anyway, your budget is $3,200, correct? And we want to go with an optimized build for what you want to do. Even if things are a little confusing here, like you said you want to do esports and pro gaming / esports, but you want to game in 4K, you can do all of that with this system. All of it. It is all available to you. You could even get yourself one of those Asus monitors that does both 4K 240 and 4K 240 hertz and 1080p 480 hertz, whatever. You know, you can get the dual mode monitor. And this PC will run both of those. I'm not guaranteeing you 480 hertz and 1080p. I'm just saying it's pretty much uncapped, you might want to say. Anyways, but this thing is ready to rip. So what we do next is We go and we go to, well, first off, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to save it and copy that link. Actually, I need to do it manually because it doesn't necessarily do it. Copy. I'll even add on my tag on the end of that. And it might add my discount code for you automatically. Will, please click that link and let me know if it put the build together for you. We can trash that one. There we go. And if we go to checkout, I want to show you something here. Okay. You can choose, because I explained this earlier. I think you were doing paperwork at the time. You can select this option for free to watch your custom PC being built live on Skytech's Twitch channel. Now, that does add a little bit of time for you to get your PC because they have to schedule it in and all that. But it's a pretty cool thing when you're going to be getting a pre-built PC from a high-volume seller like Skytech. When you get the custom PC, you have the option for them to sort of slow down. You get to be there for the process. You get to watch the whole build being done, ask the builder questions, do all that. But we go here, we put in code SWARM, SWARM, and that brings it down by $90 down to $29.22.49. There you go. $29.22.49. Shipping is free. All you got to worry about is taxes. Well, and the outstanding amount here, there, that too. So it's under 3K. We customized all the components. It basically beats out both of these because it has faster RAM and a more appropriate CPU than the O11 Vision. Remember, for anyone who's like, wait, 9900X3D, that's a bigger number than 9800X3D. Yeah, but when you turn on the game, it becomes a 6-core CPU because of core parking. The 9800X3D stays an 8-core, 16-thread CPU. Okay? Not all games can use more than like 1 or 2 cores, but for those that can utilize multi-core, multi-threading, it can be a big deal. So it does get better gaming performance. Anyway, just compare a 7600X3D versus a 7800X3D. There is a difference. You need to get paid for this? Well, I mean, I do this full time. And, I mean, if it wasn't clear, I guess it might not have been clear, actually, because I say it every stream, but I hadn't said it yet here. When you use my code, you're saving money, but also supporting what I do. You said you were looking for Skytech? Cool. I've got a code for them. I have like a dozen codes for a dozen different system integrators that are in good standing with our community. And those codes save you money and also keep me doing this to where I can help you guys out at no cost to you. Not just at no cost to you, but to where you actually spend less by supporting what I do. That way I'm not here being like, hey, not that it's bad for streamers to be like, hey, drop those Prime subs and do this and that. Get the bag, do your thing. But I don't have to do that with you guys because this supports what I do. Will the discount work next week because I'm 100% getting it next week? Yes. Yes, it will. The price on this shouldn't change. Some of the part availability might change. If it does, and they're like, oh, hey, this GPU is not available anymore, just come back, bring that link with you, and we'll figure out a change to get it ideal for you, okay? Never heard of the Sudoku cooler before. Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of RGB. They said they wanted a lot of RGB, so I was like, sure. Okay. Can swap it out for other coolers, but, looks pretty solid to me. I am realizing it doesn't have RGB on the fans. Okay, here's going to be my advice, actually. Will swap out that cooler for one with RGB fans. Because you will arguably have actually have less RGB if you go with that one, even though the block has a lot. Edit computer, click here. So let's see. Instead, choose this one, or I can make you a new link. Thank you actually for pointing that out, or at least mentioning it, because that got me to look at it. Could go with the Thermaltake TH420. See, this one has the LCD screen and like RGB on the fans, but it's $140 more. Nah, buddy. No thanks. I also really like the Cooler Master one too. But Thermaltake 420 is actually going to have more cooling power for you. Wait, what do you mean update previous selections? Okay, maybe it doesn't fit in this case. All right, Cooler Master it is. Done. Here. Let me give you a new link. There's a new link. It looks neat. Might switch the Montech Hyperflow for all RGB. Yeah? Chilling out now. Quick question now. I just picked up a 5080 open box. Should I use that now for my Tower 600 build? Sure. What was going to go in it originally? Skeeter, sorry I missed your hydrate earlier. I will do that. Just ignore what the drink is. I have water right here too, okay? I just need to drink that before it gets warm. All right, well, there you go. Let me update the one here. It might even be the same link, but it just updated the build. I don't know. Okay. All right. But Will, there you go. Now, Playboy Ray or CRA9. Are you here? Guys, if you have filled out the form previously, or if you're going to be filling it out or you're doing it right now or whatever, when you're done, or if you're waiting right now to get your help, please let me know that you're here and that you're on the list. Just lurking in the stream or like waiting for me to email you or something, it's not going to happen. You got to let me know that you filled out the form and you're waiting for help. 48 Eros Master got the PNY Shadow 58. Oh, nice. Yeah, 900 for that is really good. Yeah, Alucard showed it down there. If you are on the list, there's an emote just for you. Although I usually just put one because it gets a little incomprehensible when there's a bunch. But it's here, here we go. It says I'm on the list. And you don't need to be subscribed to use the emote. You just follow, and it's free. If you're watching on YouTube, then you just type @Brayathorn, I'm on the list. Okay, Vero said, I'm waiting for help. Even though my instructions were to say @Brayathorn, I'm on the list, like Alucard did. Let's do this. I type Control F, look for Vero, 0 of 0. So that is incorrect. You are not waiting for help, Vero. Because you did not fill out the form. Meridan, what's up, buddy? How's it going? I got the BIOS files from my motherboard, which is Asus Prime Z790-P. I don't know why, but I feel scared updating my BIOS. Lone Wolf, if you are really worried about updating your BIOS, although you totally should do that because 13th gen Intel, okay? Take it to a computer shop. Have them do it. Vero, if your question is about some reviewers using certain CAS latency, or something else that you've repeated a million times for the sake of quote-unquote comedy, I will time you out. But go ahead, ask your question. I await it with bated breath. Lone Wolf, another thing is you can just get yourself a battery backup. It's a great idea to protect your investment anyway. And guys, by the way, if you have your PC on a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply, okay, and your power goes out, oh, your PC's still running. That doesn't mean continue gaming. That means you're supposed to shut your PC down properly before the battery runs out, okay? That's what that's for. That's not the time. It's not the time for gaming. Even if you have to jump out of a multiplayer game and it's still running because your modem and router are on the battery backup on the UPS as well. That you want to leave that, close out your PC properly, shut it down, and probably switch off, then unplug the power supply. Any UPS worth its salt is going to give you really strong surge protection as well as conditioning the power, but you never know. You know what? As long as it doesn't take all night to update, I should be fine. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've done it before. I've done it like that before. So yeah, go for it if you want. Lone Wolf. It's funny because now we have a Lone Wolf to go with Lone Vaquero, who I'm not sure is still here, actually. Who are the users currently in chat? How many people are here, actually? 21 people there, 30 people on YouTube. Yo, I'm not trying to call you out for lurking, but what's up, Haz? How's it going? I see a random Haz agent there. If you're lurking, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. And for everybody else who's lurking, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. FGN says here. Where? There? Hi. Vero, go ahead and ask your question, unless I totally called it. I don't know. I get the feeling. Again, calling out for either Playboy Ray or CRA9. Both are people who filled out the form tonight. Well, Playboy Ray did it at, looks like 2:30 p.m. So it's toss up whether they'll show up tonight or not. CRA9, where you be? Where you at? I think Willie got the question. Oh, okay, cool. Very helpful, Wet Willie. Thank you. ACA Builds, what's up? Hey, Brad, I took your advice and bought the SkyTech build. It could not run Fortnite stream getting my refund. It could not run Fortnite stream getting my refund. What do you mean by that? And also, what's SkyTeach? What do you mean run Fortnite stream? Hold on, let me look up the system that we recommended to you. I guess that was on the 10th there. Is it just under ACA? Let's see this. 7700X, 5070, 32 gigs DDR5 6000, 1 terabyte Gen 4. Why couldn't it stream? I got you. Thank you, Alucard. Thanks for looking out. ACA, please tell me what occurred, because this has plenty. The specs are fine for. Also, I don't know what you mean by run Fortnite stream. You mean like play Fortnite and stream at the same time? Yeah, the specs on this are fine for doing that. What do you mean? Okay, sorry for that last message. I mean that every time I try to stream Fortnite, it kept pausing and the computer sounded like it's about to blow up. Okay. If a PC is properly configured and your components are under load, the fans should increase their RPM and it can get louder. That's pretty normal. Now, if it was smoking, that's when the words blow up can go together. Now, as for it, it kept pausing. Do you mean it was choppy? Because that could be your stream settings. Before you completely blame the hardware, make sure that you have, like if you're running OBS, right? There's a one-click optimize setting in the settings for your stream. You know, you make sure that you don't have Fortnite running on Ultra for one thing, okay? This is running a 5070, not a 5090, right? And no, the 5070 is not as powerful as a 4090 for $550. Or thank you very much, Jensen. Appreciate that. Oz Dead Meat says that spec is massive to stream Fortnite. Only thing that could use a tweak is some more RAM. Of course, get rid of Windows 11 Home. What do you mean Home? Are you saying Windows 11 Pro is the only way to go? Oz Dead Meat. Which Windows 11 Pro feature are we missing here? I'll be in the UK soon for 2 weeks. I mean, that'll just jump on the stream while you're there. Def Gamer, what's up? What's going on? I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Bree, I adjusted all the settings even before I set up my stream, and the Fortnite kept freezing. It kept being choppy, and I play on low settings to have the best input delay. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Did you work with Skytech's tech support on that? Let them try to help you out. My thing is this. Stuff like this can happen, and maybe there is a hardware issue. Give them a chance to fix it before you're just like, oh, this company sucks. If there's a problem with the PC, they'll fix it. You just bought the thing. But these specs are plenty for streaming Fortnite. As was mentioned by Oz Dead Meat earlier, it could potentially use a little bit more RAM, but this is 32 gigs usually fine, unless you're running like 11 Chrome tabs in the background at the same time. Group policy modification security tweaks. Oz, the thing is, you got to understand, I help most people with pre-builts, so that audience generally not going to do that kind of stuff, and maybe shouldn't necessarily. Suri was using the GPU and not motherboard video ports. That's a good question, Dan. That's a great question. ACA, quick question. Where did you have your monitor plugged into? Where was the monitor plugged in? Yeah, bro, I would have done that, but because my mom bought it for me, she wants me just to get a refund, so I'm probably just going to build or get parts and go to Micro Center. Okay, ACA builds. Here's the thing. Answer this question because it might not matter if you get 13 different PCs if you're doing this wrong. Where are you plugging in the monitor? Are you plugging it in? Hold on. Let me find my video on this. That's not right. What the hell? There. Yeah, it wasn't showing up in my dashboard for some reason. Okay, you watched the video. Okay. Yeah, sure. Sorry. First time watcher. I work in cybersecurity, so it's my thing. Yeah. Generally, if people are coming to me just to like, that's the thing. And one of the reasons that I've been able to do this for years, Oz, is that I basically have to take myself out of the like sysadmin shoes and put myself in the perspective of someone who's brand new to this stuff, or it can be very alienating for people when they're just trying to get into the hobby for the very first time. If someone really finds that they want to get, they can just go to Microsoft Upgrade to Pro if they want. But most people not going to need those features. Playboy Ray says, "Hey Bray, can you do me? I'm here. Sorry, I was sleeping. Hey Bray, I'm here. Okay, I got you. But okay, yeah, sure. Okay, please, Ray, please stop spamming in my chat. I would have gotten to it eventually. It's a big pet peeve for me. I see you. But here's a tip. If you want someone to see your chat, type out their full name, because let me show you what it does. When you type out someone's full name, it highlights it. If you keep shortening it, if you want to be seen, don't repeat yourself. Nobody likes that. It gets really annoying really fast. Just type out a full name and spell it properly, and it will pop up. Hi, Alucard. How's it going? Oh, look, it worked for Alucard too. Yeah, there you go. See how bright that is? Yeah, that is much better than spamming your message, because that's a quick way to get timed out or banned here. Because it's a huge pet peeve for me. Anyways, you're good. Sure, we can help you out. No problem. Well, ACA, again, like, if there's faulty hardware, remember that no system integrator manufactures the hardware. They just integrate it, right? That's the whole system integration thing. I would suggest giving the company a chance to fix it, but you do what you want to do. It's all good. It's your money, you know? It's your PC. Okay. What am I doing? I'm going here. I'm highlighting this. Are we doing a parts list? Gaming, streaming, content creation, video editing, racing sim, flight sim. Boy, you want to do a lot of stuff. All right, Playboy Ray, what is your actual maximum budget for the build? The actual maximum number, not a range, but the number. Yeah, 99.9% of people are not joining their PC to their home domain and need to apply group policy. Dan, 99.9% of people, do you think 99.9% of PC users are going to do that? Buddy. One thing about being an enthusiast in something is it's easy to think that everyone feels the same way about it. They're not going to care. They're just going to be like, why doesn't it work? It's going to work. Okay, this works fine enough, I guess. I tend to go with Pro on all my builds. I just like some of the extra features. Right. Alucard, you also build PCs for fun and profit. Just add on streaming and video editing, and you got the whole kit and caboodle. Streaming and video editing is in there, T-Ty. It is absolutely on that list. Fortnite in general has had issues freezing, being choppy. It's an Unreal Engine 5 issue. Even people with 5090 have had issues streaming Fortnite and the game stuttering. ACA, did you see that? A really good question that I did not ask and I should have, ACA, is have you tried other games? Are they also stuttering? Drawing artist, thank you for chiming in. Because you might find yourself returning a whole PC, having to wait while you get your parts, having to put the whole thing together, and then finding that Fortnite is just in a state where it's not very playable right now. $1,300 and paying $250 for Micro Center. Okay, I'm going to show you something here. This, where it says parts list, should say pre-built. It doesn't matter because you did say you want to have that $250 for Micro Center, okay? But if you're not building it, it's pre-built. Parts list is if you're just going to be building it yourself. But anyways, that's less for you because you already submitted your form, and it's more for other people who might be considering filling out the form, just to clarify that. I tried Valorant, and it was not running right. My brother has a 4060 and run Fortnite perfectly fine. Okay. At this point, I think you're just saying stuff. You return it if you want. You get your parts, build your system. I don't know. You're just throwing words together now. I don't know what you're saying. I'm glad it runs great for your brother on a 4060. Yet on your 5070, he was having problems. I don't know what to tell you now. Y'all, 99% of people don't run a home domain, bro. Yeah. That's why I was like, Really, Dan, are we sure about that? I use Pro for BitLocker. Okay. All right. So 1,300. And you're already setting aside 250 outside of that for Micro Center to build it for you. Got it. And you're at the Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Let's get this done. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to be able, for 1,300 bucks, it's going to be a little difficult to build a system that is for gaming, streaming, content creation, video editing, racing sim, and flight sim, all of that. Any one of those, just one of these, you could easily build a $2,500 system just for that one use case. And we're trying to cram all of that into a $1,300 budget. Does that mean your budget is invalid? No. What it means is we're going to put something together for you to build on as you go. That's what that means. Forex Teddy says, true beginners just want to plug and play. Hey, Teddy, I'll tell you something. I've had plenty of people in here who are like, I've been building PCs for 20 years. I just want to plug and play. Eventually, you get over a certain hill and you end up sort of like an Ouroboros back where you began. No, Ouroboros is not the right term for that. Well, no, you don't have to forget about racing sims. I'll explain as we go. Did I not do this right? Where did it go? There we go. All right. And looks like we're already at the right Micro Center. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So we're pretty much going to have to rely on a bundle here. But here's the thing. So let's talk about here, let's talk about this. If you're trying to set up a racing sim or you're trying to stream, those are two things that, generally speaking, are going to lead to you needing more USB ports than the average person. Streaming, because as you stream, you're going to get tired of scrolling your mouse over to OBS and having to change your scenes there, and you're going to want, oh, I want a stream deck. Well, that's really convenient. Maybe I want another one over here, or I want to get the pedals, or maybe I need to get a second webcam for another angle. Maybe I'm not just going to use a headset anymore. Maybe I can get an audio interface, and yada, 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 yada. As you go, you just need more and more USB ports. Racing sim, the more control surfaces you're going to have, the more USB ports you need, unless you get a whole kit that has a proprietary hub that minimizes latency, whatever. Lots of stuff going on there. But one thing that can really help, because we can't be too picky about our motherboard here necessarily, we'll try to though, is one of these right here. See, this is a PCIe add-in card that costs about $30 on Amazon, and it adds a bunch of USB ports. Just like that, you just plug it in to a PCIe slot that's not being used. You got to take the cover off there first. It is one screw to hold it in, and make sure your PC is off and unplugged when you do that. Plug it in, flip on the power supply, press the power button, and it should plug and play. Just don't plug your mouse and keyboard into this if you're trying to wake up your PC from it being idle or asleep, because if your PC goes to sleep, so do your PCIe slots. This thing will, unless you have certain settings in your BIOS, whatever. We're not going to get into that. Back, BIOS fully updated successfully. That was easy. There you go, Lone Wolf. Hell yeah. Congrats. I got 4 Stream Decks. They are awesome. Absolutely. Right now, I have 3 Elgato Stream Deck type devices right now around me, and it is nice. The problem is I've been having issues with the Stream Deck software. I might just need to do a whole refresh, save my profiles, reinstall everything, and yeah, it's been doing this thing where I have to like force the software to shut down, bring it back up, unplug and replug in the devices, and then everything works. But I got to tell you, Oz, if you do anything streaming related, the pedals are the best. It is, but there's not just Elgato pedals. There's other ones too. Anyways, let's get back to this. So we're going to look at the bundles because it can be a great way to put together a really solid build on a budget here. Now, because you mentioned The difficulty here is that you mentioned two things. Content creation / video editing, and yes, you want to upgrade your CPU over time. Because currently the best value in content creation is the 265K from Intel. It is, compared to the performance you get in something like Premiere Pro versus the price, nothing beats it. But Intel is getting even worse about CPU socket support over time. Apparently, we're just getting a refresh for LGA 1700. Then they're moving on. LGA 1851. Excuse me. LGA 1851. They're moving on to LGA 1894. 1990, what is it? 1954. Whatever. It's just number. We want more money. We create e-waste. Thank you, Intel. But because you want to be able to upgrade your CPU over time, we look at something like a Ryzen 7 7700X, something like that, okay? And that's going to have 8 cores, 16 threads. It's going to be a good start. And then say when, I don't know, what the hell are they going to call it? 11,000 series? That's what it would be, right? Because it's been 5,000, 3,000 series, 5,000 series Ryzen, 7,000 series, 9,000 series. So whenever you want to get yourself an 11950X 3D, whatever, it'll work with the socket. So, Cogs 242, welcome. What's going on? Is his audio slightly out of sync for others? Well, that would be good for me to know. Yeah, Intel have really let themselves go since 12th gen. Oh, yeah, they're packing it on. Ed, yeah, what's going on? Do we have any news on the 50 supercards I just got here? Hi. No? Nope. And heck, if I did have news, I would be under NDA and I couldn't tell you anything. I'm not. I can't. I don't have anything to tell you. Just, I see the same rumors as everybody else. It is slightly, okay, good to know. Hold on. Okay. Is that better or worse? I don't know. I'm not under an NDA. Let me see. I just really want to chase my dream. Yeah, that's fine. That's all good. Chasing dreams is awesome. My job is to make sure that when you go and give them your money dollars, and reality sets in that you're going to get the best thing you can. We want to make sure that you're getting the most for your money. And remember, the big strength of PCs is that they are upgradable. That is the major strength here. Now, looking at this, let's take a look at this because it's B850, not... Man, I would really like to go with an X motherboard, but remember, we are trying to fit as much as we can into a lot of use cases for this PC. So let's see what we can do. Also, if you want to, you could do an upgrade to 64 gigs of RAM. That's part of this bundle, which is pretty cool. Let's get a better look at the motherboard. You know, it's not bad for starting out. Asus used to be kind of the worst when it came to I/O for anything but their $500 and upwards or $400 and upwards. They've gotten better about that a little bit. But yeah, this is not bad. Like, you see these ones here that say USB 2.0 or just the ones with the black plastic in there? That's where your mouse and keyboard go. And then you have 5 gigabit per second, 4 of those here, and then 3 10 gigabit per second Type A's and a 20 gigabit per second USB Type C. Wi-Fi 7 included, 2.5 gig Ethernet. This is pretty well kitted out. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 M.2 sockets on there. Wait, no, they could have put one here. They chose not to, so that's 3. Well, that's such a waste. I hate when they do that. Totally could have done it. Anyways, yeah. So not bad. And like I said, you can add in more IO very cheaply, very easily. Putting this thing in there takes 2 minutes. And then you reboot your PC. You bring your PC back up. You plug it back in, turn it back on, and you have those USB ports working. Yeah, but the M.2 slot under the video card is a pain in the butt. That's why you put your boot drive there, so you don't have to mess with it later. That motherboard in Australia is $800 Australian dollary dues. That's crazy. Okay, back to the build. I'll select this one. This is good. It's a good starting point. So 7700X is a great starting point there. Also, fun fact, AMD's Ryzen 7 chips tend to be the best for Photoshop. If you're doing content creation, you're making thumbnails, use Photoshop, it's going to fly with this CPU. Really good for that. The compatibility filter they built for this thing is so bad. So now, before those who are definitely way smarter and way better at this than I am, before they come in screaming about hey, AMD GPU, this is, remember, content creation. Okay? It's not there yet. It's getting better, but it's not there yet. I have the Puget Bench scores to show it if you're doubting me. AV, all good on YouTube. Yeah, Tammy, the thing is I'm running this also through OBS, and there's... Did y'all tell me that the audio delay was better or worse? Okay, Oz that said worse. Is the audio delay worse now? This would only be affecting Twitch. Welcome, Berkey. How's it going? So I'm thinking, what are we looking for resolution? 1080p. That's not bad. I will say, if you're trying to make 4K videos at some point, you're going to want a 4K monitor, but you don't have to game on that. That could just be for 4K playback, make sure your content's good, all that. And a 4K non-gaming monitor, much cheaper than a 4K gaming monitor. Alucard, thank you for verifying that. Appreciate it. Same or worse, not better for me. I'll reload again. Okay. You're going to need a buttload of disk space if you're doing video creation. We haven't gotten there yet. So if we can do a 5070, that'd be cool, but that will cut into things like adding storage. 5060 Ti 16 gig is looking like the most likely option here. Although they do have stuff that is like at MSRP. Like a 5070 Ti for $750 would be great, but it's a little over. What we can do, we still got to get a case, CPU cooler, power supply, storage, and that's it. We are picking NVIDIA, and we're going to go... We're going to price sort it high to low, but we're going to go to like the middle here. All peripherals as well? Nope. Oz, in the form, it states that your budget cannot include things like monitor, peripherals, mouse, keyboard, shipping, taxes. It just needs to be like, what will the price be listed as on the website? I'm not going to go and do a bunch of math. And your mouse, keyboard, headset stuff, and monitor. I'm not an expert in those. I'm not saying I'm an expert in 1060s or anything, but I'm not practiced with those and knowing like all the different things out there. I can look at PC parts and suss things out, but I don't really get a ton of monitors for all that. Yeah, pretty much the basics. The thing that people worry about the most, the PC. Okay. Well, would you look at them having actual MSRP 5070s? $549 for a triple fan. Like, look, they got the dual fan, and then wait, additional savings when purchased with any processor. What do you mean? What does that mean? I also like PNY here. What's the lowest price on a 5060 Ti? 16 gig. Thank you very much. $429. Okay. Including the Prime triple fan one. Not bad. That's the 8 gig. Thanks, Asus. Anyway, we're going to try to do an MSRP 5080. We're going to give it a shot. I like that this one lists SFF, and it might have a slightly low profile fan shroud on it, which can help if you're doing PCIe add-in cards. One good thing about the tough board, decent PCIe slots, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me look. Yeah, look at that. Decent spread of PCIe slots there if you're doing add-in cards for additional I/O, for capture, things like that. Speaking of which, let's actually look at what the specs are on their PCIe slots real quick. That is important for a streaming PC. I'm looking for at least one X4 slot. Yep. PCIe 4.0 supports X4. Good to go. X16 supports X4. Good, 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 good. All right. Wait. Are you serious? You can't use that if you use the third M.2 socket. I don't know if we can use this motherboard. Let's pick our GPU and we'll go back to it. How do you mess that up, guys? There's 3 M.2 sockets on there. 3. Really? You're going to mess that up? All right. What else they got? We are going AMD because they specifically stated they want to be able to upgrade the CPU over time. All right. This might be a $30 upgrade to the 9700X, which could be worth it. We're going to take a look at the motherboard real quick. Gaming X, not usually the board I would go with for a streaming PC, but we're going to take a look here. Let's see. Yeah, the I/O is a downgrade. That's a downgrade on the I/O. You're going down to Wi-Fi 6E. You're losing 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. Going out to a 10 gig USB-C. That's a pretty big downgrade, man. That's B650. Okay. All right. Let's keep looking. Guys, chill out with the 7800X 3Ds. Relax. This could mean a downgrade on the GPU, but the motherboard's got to be right. If it's for a streaming PC, it just needs to be right. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing about what I've learned over time as I do these is where to prioritize for different use cases. CPU chipset, you have 4.0 X4 from chipset, 3.01, 3.01. Okay, okay. All right. 3M.2. I don't see any bifurcation with M.2 or PCIe slots. That's good. Y'all are killing me, man, with this I/O. USB 4 is nice. It is. 8 ports isn't bad, but half of them are USB 2.0. 5 gig Ethernet and Wi-Fi 7 are nice. And you have an additional USB-C with 20 gigabit per second. But like, that's what they mean by Pro, I guess. Let's see. There was no bifurcation on this. That is important. You can fit a really beefy capture card in here, an internal capture card over. Like if later on you get real serious about streaming, and you want to have multiple camera angles, get yourself a CamLink Pro that requires 4 lanes of PCIe. Get yourself a HDMI 2.1 capture card to capture 4K 60 with variable refresh rate stuff, whatever, you know. Playboy Ray, you still with me? What's up, JJ Blinks? How's it going? 580 for 1200 Canadian just today. What is that like? Damn, what is that like? $500 US dollars? That's crazy. I actually don't know the conversion. I'm assuming that's good though. Man, so okay, this motherboard basically. Plan on getting one of these PCIe X1 USB cards, just like this one, just to have more, you know, more room for things like Stream Decks, things like that, all that stuff. Okay, and they're again like $30 on Amazon. It's plug and play, super easy to install. And a la carte, I mostly meant X3D in general. Not necessarily 7800 X3D, just X3D stuff. But I said that instead of what I meant to say. It doesn't matter though. I really wish this motherboard was better. The bifurcation stuff. If you're going to be doing video editing, you cannot lock out one of 3 M.2 sockets. That's just not enough in my opinion. Otherwise, this is a good bundle. All right. We'll go with this. It's a steep increase in price. All right. What if we forego the bundle altogether? And we get picky with our motherboard. We pick the one we want. Okay, why would I say that? Because they have this. This is my favorite motherboard from this generation. Yes, it's X670E. That's the previous generation. But hold up. 250. Look at this freaking I/O, okay? This is what I'm currently streaming on right now. Hey, Bray, also I'm using DaVinci free version. 10 meg, got it. Yeah. That means you're not going to use your GPU power. You're not going to use hardware acceleration with the GPU if you're using the free version. This thing, it's got tons of M.2, no bifurcation. You have 4 M.2 sockets, no bifurcation. I'm running 2 beefy AF capture cards in here. It has a ton of I/O. This is a rad motherboard. A couple of features are not great, like the fact you only have one Type-C on there. You have Wi-Fi 6E. But if you're streaming, you shouldn't be on Wi-Fi anyway. And there's a ton of great I/O here. Like a Stream Deck can run off of USB 2.0. Put a couple of those there. Mouse, keyboard. You can do multiple webcams here. Audio interfaces here. There's triple 10 gigabit per second Type A's. A 20 gigabit per second USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2 right here. It's plenty of I/O. It is plenty of storage. Plenty of power delivery for your CPU. This thing, I've been using this for this streaming PC, gaming and streaming PC for a while. It runs awesome. It looks awesome. It's priced awesome. And there's one left. But I'm going to select it. It's going to take apart our bundle. That doesn't work. So let me, actually, I'm going to check something because I saw, this is the B850 version of this, gaming plus Wi-Fi. Oh, this is Project Zero. Oh, boy. It looks sick, though. But what do they do to my I/O? What do they do to my I/O? No! MSI, what is wrong with you? Jeez. How can you call this the same lineup of motherboard? With the same graphics and everything. Yeah, it has a gray PCB. Yeah, it looks awesome. But, like, that's lame, dude. That is so lame. It's the same price, though. And it's so clean. And it has 5 gig Ethernet. And presumably Wi-Fi 7. But, like, damn. They neutered it in terms of I/O. Which, if you're building a streaming PC and something potentially for sim rigs, racing rigs, you just don't cheap out on your I/O. You can't. It's going to bite you in the butt. You can upgrade like we can put a 1 terabyte of storage in here now, and you can upgrade the crap out of your storage later. Doing that with your motherboard is like you just build another PC. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of crap you got to deal with. Yeah, MSI fell off when it came to I/O pretty hard. When you compare that to this, not that, not this, not ever this. Compare that to this, yeah. Alucard, each motherboard manufacturer has their own proprietary Easy Connect thing. I've seen different ones across all the brands. But no, I think we picked the best motherboard option here. Like I said, I'm a full-time content creator, streamer. Like, this is what I use. It's good stuff. But I don't know if we can do this, though, with the 5070. Might have to be 5060 Ti 16 gig. I mean, you're trying to game at 1080p, so that'll run it. No problem. Wait, what color did you say you wanted? In black. Okay. Yeah, Playboy Ray. The thing is, you never know. It could be that you stream for 7-8 months, and you have 5 viewers. You stick with it, or maybe it doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it takes off. You never know. Maybe you. The thing is, it's easy to upgrade everything else, everything but the motherboard. PSU can be a bit of a pain too. But the motherboard is the hardest thing to upgrade, or the one of the more costly things to upgrade in terms of time investment. So I tend to not skimp out when you're using it for things like streaming or sim rig stuff. And this motherboard's great for either of those. Okay, well, match the motherboard brand with MSI. Well, there's only one of those. Doesn't matter if you match the motherboard brand if there's no RGB on it anyway. All right, we'll go with the one that is 429. Yeah, we'll go with this. And that gets the price a little bit more under control. I mean, it's not a huge price difference between that 429 and that 550. It's $120. Really breaking up that bundle really messed things up a bit, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna start you out with not a ton of storage, and adding storage is literally the easiest upgrade you can do. You'll need to do that over time. You're only starting out with 1 terabyte. That's not a lot of storage at all, but it will get you started. You can game with. You can set up games. You can stream. Don't put your whole Steam library on there. You can set up your stream, do all that. When it comes to recording footage, you're going to want to add more storage later on, and not that much later on. Maybe in a month or so, once you start to really get into where you have everything set up and you're ready to start recording and doing all that stuff. Case. We want to keep this kind of simple, okay? I'm thinking the Montech XR is a good example of a case that comes with fans, looks great in a stream background or a video background because of the RGB, the glass, and is only $70 with fans included. Kind of wish the open box collections were available in the builder. Yeah. Hey, Bray, does Power GPU have a good budget build? 4X Teddy, what is it? Power GPU is awesome. They're also more in the boutique category. So they're a boutique builder. Which is going to be more like, it's going to cost you a little more, but you're going to get the quality out of it. You can get higher end components. You're going to get the attention to detail on the build, the boutique buying and ownership experience, stuff like that, and you pay extra money for that. So looking for budget builds, I wouldn't say that's a strength for Power GPU. They could probably pull something off, but you may do better elsewhere where budget builds are more of a focus. But love Power GPU. Those guys are awesome. Jesse's awesome. Even though he needs to work on that whole tallness thing. Jesse's a good dude, except for the whole long-legged freak of nature thing. That's not my favorite thing. But he knows it's a problem. And being aware, knowing is half the battle, right? PSU, 850, probably more than enough here, but leaves you a little bit of room to upgrade. Okay. Almost there. I might need to adjust things a little bit. Give me a sec. Oh, man. Why did the bundle have to have that motherboard? Okay, so here's our other option, okay? Our other option is we go with this one right here. And the problem with this one was, let me see, where is it? Where's Asus? Right here. The problem with this motherboard, specifically, it had a lot of good features. The I/O was fine. The main thing was it has 3 M.2 slots, and you can't use the third one if you're going to have a capture card inside or some other internal card, okay? If you're never going to do that and you just use an external capture card for like a mirrorless camera or a game system or whatever you're going to use it for, okay? Then you don't have to worry about it. You can put all 3 drives in there. You're good to go. But also, in a way, once you get to the point where you need 3 large M.2 drives, you should start looking at external storage anyway. I'm way beyond that. I really should have done it forever ago. And I've even got a guy I know at Ugreen who's like, hey, let's do a NAS thing. And I just haven't reached out to him to do it. We talked about it back at NAB. But we're going to do this. We'll swap your motherboard to this. If it's not enough I/O, you get yourself an a USB add-in card, PCIe add-in card. Again, this is so easy to do. And it also brought us down to 1214. Ray, if you can push your budget up a tiny bit, you could go with a 5070. But right now, we got you on a 5060 Ti with 16 gigs of VRAM. This thing will get you going for quite a while, especially because you're trying to game at 1080p. And regardless of the fact that this year, it was pretty earned, but I think if pressed, any tech reviewer will admit that there was a lot of hate going around on NVIDIA for a lot of good reasons. The 5060 Ti 16 gig was not one of those good reasons. If you could get it for MSRP, this thing actually charts really well in its category. Will you get higher FPS in gaming with a 5070? Yeah. But in terms of productivity stuff, it's not going to be a massive difference. Video editing, stuff like that. And we did put an 850 watt power supply in there, which can handle up to a 5080 down the line, or whatever they end up doing with 5070 Ti, like 6070 Ti or whatever down the line. So you have some upgradability there. You're at 1214, and we're actually under budget here. So if we go with the motherboard I was recommending that had a ton of USB ports on it and no bifurcation with any of the storage stuff, meaning like it's not going to slow down, it's not going to mess with any of your other ports if you use a certain port. I know I'm getting a little in the deep end here. It was like $30 over, right? Chat. It was like $13.30, something like that. If you're cool with that, you can go with that motherboard. If you want to try and push your budget instead to throw a 5070 in there, get some better gaming performance out of it, you can do that. But keep in mind that the 5060 Ti and the 5070 are going to have the same encoding. You don't get to have like dual encode until you get to a 5080. Okay. So 5060 Ti, 16 gig VRAM, all that good stuff, versus the 5070, 12 gigs of VRAM, a little bit less VRAM, a little better gaming performance anyway. And it's the same Gen 9 NV encoder, NVIDIA encoder. Okay. You're going to have the same stream performance between the two. Okay. Video editing, it's not going to affect you on the GPU side because you're using free DaVinci Resolve, which does not allow you to use GPU hardware acceleration. So that doesn't matter. This system has a lot of room to grow. You're starting with a Ryzen 7 7700X. You're starting with 8 cores, 16 threads. The rumors are right now, the leaks are right now, that AMD might finally find it in themselves to count higher than 8. when it comes to the core count per CCD, meaning 11,000 series Ryzen, which that's a terrible name, but I'm almost afraid for them to come up with a new naming convention because they have not been on a good streak lately with that. Looking at you, 9070 XT. Anyway, it's rumored that, I mean, we may be looking at a 24-core, 48-thread 11950X, which for video editing is going to be nuts. And that's a drop-in upgrade. Like you upgrade your you update your BIOS, put in the CPU, you can have Micro Center do it for you a couple years down the line or whenever that it has been out for a while and it gets cheaper and you're getting more serious about video editing or whatever. Okay? Yeah, Arcad V says, off topic, I'll be glad when the storms here move out. Oh, I hope you're safe over there. I hope the storms aren't too crazy. Anyway, we got a nice case on there. 32 gigs of RAM, another thing that you'll eventually want to upgrade to 64 if you get serious about video editing. This system is designed for you to start out. Under every category, there is room for improvement, but it will allow for that improvement. 1 terabyte of storage, well, eventually that's just going to be your boot drive and where your most important programs are. You'll be able to add a 4 terabyte drive, another 4 terabyte drive, whatever. Okay? That'll be up to you. I would say this is a good versatile build with room to grow. Also, we have a matching Montech cooler to go with a Montech case. That's 360 millimeter AIO, meaning if you put a big beefy CPU in there later, you don't really need to upgrade that AIO cooler. 360 millimeter AIO is usually good enough to handle most anything on the market. There is one thing I have not included on here, and that is the operating system. What you will do. Ray, let me know if you're still with me, by the way. What you'll need to do is ask them to install Windows 11 for you. Like Windows 11 Home, for most people, is fine. Ask them to install that for you, but not activate it. They'll do that for free in most micro centers, and you don't pay the $120 it costs you to get Windows. That's aside from the $250 build fee, mind you, from Micro Center. Okay? In a way, their build fee kind of makes sense. It's a same-day build. As long as you put your order in earlier than 4 hours till closing, you'll usually get it same day. That's a good service, okay? But you can leave Windows unactivated, or you can get like an OEM license for a fraction of the price. What's up, Braxton? Welcome. How's it going? All right, cool. I'm not going to do the streamer thing where someone calls them an unk and they're like, well, I'm not an unk. Absolutely. I am at that age for sure, probably. All right, here's a build. I hope you heard all that stuff about Windows. There you go. Who stayed with me through all that nonsense? That was a lot of nonsense. Yeah, I'll never get mad at somebody for calling me unk, because like I'll see it as a badge of like, look, I didn't think I would make it to 43, okay, but I did. I'm here. Hey bro, what you said about Windows, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a beginner. I don't know nothing. Okay, you ask them to, when they build the PC for you, they have to put an operating like a Windows on there so you can use it. If you don't tell them this, they're gonna charge you $120 for this. Okay, at least. Ask them to install Windows, but don't activate it. Leave it, and it's going to have a little message in the bottom right that says, Windows activation, the activate Windows, pay us money, yada yada. Here, I'll give you a video link to explain better. Okay. Let me find one. It's a pretty old video at this point. But there you go. I need to make an updated version of that if I'm still going to work with VIP CDK deals. But honestly, I kind of want to move away from that for when I'm ready to start publishing content again here soon. So I don't know. I'll see who I can talk to about it. I've been dancing around sponsorship with like Signal RGB for like a while now. Like I ran into them at PAX West 2022, and every time we see each other, we're like, we got to talk about that. We never do. But that makes sense for, hey, I don't know anything about all this RGB software. Just get Signal RGB. You can use a free version if you want and just put a solid color. It should control most of your stuff. There you go. I'm back again. Had to enable XMP. Rest of the settings don't make sense to me. So I kept the profile Intel default settings instead of ASUS Advanced OC profile. Lone Wolf, that was a right move. Intel default should be the right move, and XMP on, you're good to go. You shouldn't have to mess with anything else. Is the affiliate link still active? Tamme, the thing about with VIP CDK deals, I've never really had an affiliate thing with them where I get a kickback for every time someone buys a key. I've never had that. They just directly would sponsor episodes. And they've been grandfathered into a pretty low rate for a very long time. So I would probably renegotiate that with them. Hey, Bray, really mean, no disrespect for calling you Unc. I'm a TikTok kid. I said I'm fine with it. I'm 43. That's, I don't know. That's uncle age. I am putting myself up as an authority in a certain field of knowledge. Like, sure, call me whatever. I don't care. Well, not whatever, I guess, but I'm fine with that. I'll let Ludwig get mad about it. I don't care. Ludwig's not 43. Wish I knew that. Bought so many things from VIP CDK deals. Kept using your code. Think you'll get a kickback. No, that's the thing is like, Alucard, how much could it potentially be per code at like 23 bucks? Like, it's not much. No, there's not much profit margin for them there, I imagine. So it's totally fine. The fact that you're using my code shows them like, oh, we should keep sponsoring this guy. People keep using his code. There you go. Jasmine DeBean, how the heck are you? Welcome. Yeah, that to me is more valuable. Alucard, you're good. Also, I'm glad that you saved money on stuff. It all adds up. Yep. I guess it does, but still. No, we never had that. I was really just looking to somehow eke out a living when I had to go full-time, and I had no choice at the time than to quit the job I had so I could take care of my mom. I had to go full-time, so I was like, I'll take what I can get. I don't need to get affiliate revenue. Just keep paying something per episode, anything. There's plenty of margin in Windows codes, I guess. I don't know. The thing is, Tamme, I'm not going to have thousands of people using that. You got to remember, my content that they sponsor is me talking about pre-builts that are already licensed Windows copies. I probably don't get that many code redemptions. Not enough to where if it was $2 per code, $3 per code, that I would really it would really make that big of a difference. Lately, it's been tricky to get the Windows 11 keys lately, as well as the payment methods needed work. Yeah. The searching has been a little bit weird, and they used to have it on their front page, and they don't anymore. So I'm wondering what's up with that. But I've gotten a few codes lately, and I've not had a single issue. So Okay. Since BIOS update temps are a bit better when booting up and playing games, 71 to 89. Nice, Lone Wolf. Awesome. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. The power profiles are literally updated. So, yeah. We have a few techies in the audience like me who make builds for others and wouldn't mind supporting you. I just don't like the YouTube taking a cut. YouTube isn't... what? YouTube getting a cut? YouTube doesn't get a cut of that. I mean, I guess maybe, but like that's... Via PCDK deals provided the links. I did not. Or YouTube did not. You know, that kind of thing. Anyways. So, okay. I want to remind you guys of something important. One thing I love about this stream is I get people from all walks of life who come in here. And that's just the coolest thing. I love having a space here where everybody can come in. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, what you do, what you like. You know, you come in, you're chill, you have a good time. It doesn't matter who you are. This is the place for you. Oh, super chat and memberships. Oh yeah, well that's one thing. I mean, they do give me a platform, Tenmei. They do that. So one thing about that is for the longest time I've had this informal policy where I keep things clean on the stream. I don't cuss, stuff like that. I mean, you know, maybe there's an exception when I'm doing a gaming stream just on Twitch, but yeah. Anyway, all that to mention, when how long should it take? Michelle, what do you mean? How long should what take? The Will says, I'm 89. Hell yeah, congrats making it to 89. That's awesome. Man. 6 hours does not feel like a long time when building a PC. No, I mean, when you get locked in, Michelle, anything can just feel like it's breezing by. That's why every time during the birthday build stream, I kept looking at the time like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. What the heck? But no, the reason I bring all that up about me keeping things clean kind of arbitrarily on stream, but of course, you know, I like to, I want everybody to feel comfortable here without exception. Unless they're being rude to others and then making others uncomfortable. Then it's like, yeah, get out. You're not invited to the party anymore. I'm on plan my ISP is offering 2 gigs for a month. I do live streaming, gaming, and media transfers. Will that upgrade make a noticeable difference? Braxton, when I don't stream, what is it? What happened? Did somebody say that? Why do you have quotations on that, Braxton? I'm confused. Now, if that's Braxton, if that is fiber and it has 2 gig upload as well, then for media transfers and streaming, yeah, that can make a big difference. A big difference there. Okay. It is fiber. Yeah. I mean, I'm on 5 gig and I rarely actually leverage that. But I just never really have to worry about my internet slowing down. It just runs like crazy. That's one thing I'm really excited about. I've had mostly 2.5 gig Ethernet ports in most of my actual computers. This thing here, having the new system, is 10 gig on the onboard Ethernet, which I'm excited about. Hold on, lol. Missed Bray getting called Unk. Is it supposed to be like derogatory? Am I missing something? Which would be very, I mean, I guess that would be par for the course. Unless it's supposed to be referring to like the weird uncle that no one likes seeing at Thanksgiving. If it means that, then don't. But is it bad? I hear it. And whenever people use it with like someone younger and then they get mad. That's the only context I have for it being not positive. I don't care. I don't know. Okay, what is going on here? Not derogatory. Thank you. That's what I thought. It's like, look, I'm 43 as of the 11th, right? I'm 43. I'm out here giving advice. It sounds right to me. I don't know. As long as I'm the cool unk, I'm cool with that. As long as that's possible. Okay. All right. Okay. The reason I was saying that, all that stuff. Stop distracting me. Well, in my neck of the woods is a friendly term. Good. Thank you, Michelle, for verifying that. I thought it might be. But okay. The reason I said all that is because other streamers don't have they don't self-regulate like that. They say whatever they want, and that is their right. But I want to always warn you guys before we raid anybody that there could be foul language or spooky games or all kinds of stuff on there. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and raid my buddy Duty Beard. Duty is a great guy. I feel so much better. I'm 43. Ha, yeah. Guess I'm an auntie at this point. Well, I guess we're all just... I don't know. Whatever we are. We are the swarm. I guess. Whatever. That sounds weird. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to raid my buddy Duty Beard. He's a great guy. We're going to go and do that. Just be prepared for weirdness. The guy's weird, and I love it. He's a great dude.
I had it tonight, so probably just like a little too much. Also, I'm very in a good mood. It's been a minute since I've been in a mood this good. It's miserable at work.
All right, guys. I'll see y'all on Thursday. I gotta end the stream so I can go and finish this PC build I was doing. Everybody join the raid. Say something nice to my friend. And his awesome setup. Like, this setup is insane. I love it. But I'll see y'all on Thursday. Thank you so much for hanging out. Until then, take care.
I don't want to fucking piss anybody off.
Let's go, nerds!